All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are back to playing Call of Cthulhu today, and everyone, you have finally reunited. No more switching of headsets. Take them on, don't have to take them off. I know most of you were faking it the whole time, and you were still listening. You just put like your monitor speakers on or something like that, and you were just like, "Oh yeah, I have no idea what's going on." Pretty sure that's what was happening.
I don't have monitor speakers, so
Did anyone?
I don't either.
Did anyone cheat?
No.
my headphones weren't on the entire time, so I was just winging it.
Yeah, Long never really listens. That explains the scalping plan of yours. You're talking
Just felt like doing it.
Most ridiculous plan ever. Okay, well, we're back. We're still in Bangkok. We have some odds and ends to figure out, and I'm kind of curious. I don't really know what you guys are going to do today, so we'll see how it goes. We'll definitely see how it goes. We ready to just dive right in?
Yeah.
Yippee.
I've taken away Steven's ability to use his character sheet because he said
I can't change my hit points or my luck or anything.
Because you said, "Don't tell me what to do." I told you to roll luck, and then I said, "All right, no luck for you then." And then you rolled luck anyway, and then tried to put luck into your. And I saw it, and I fixed it, and I changed it back. So you don't get luck today. You're going to stick.
But
at
you're
15.
still telling me what to do by telling me I can't change my luck.
I
said, "Don't tell me what to do."
You said, "Don't tell you what to do." I didn't agree with that.
Don't tell me what to do, Jeff.
I mean,
Don't tell me what I can't do either.
I don't really have to tell you what to do. I can just change the permissions on your character sheet, and now you're in a little bit of trouble. Oh, look at that! You're under 30 luck too, so you can't get out of that. Oh, that's a shame. That's 17.
I was
luck you
already
rolled.
under 30 luck.
Oh, you're not gonna get that 17. You don't get the 32.
You kind of can't do.
That's a shame. Oh,
I'm
that's
going to
such a
start
shame,
keeping track of my
Steven.
character sheet on paper.
You can go right ahead. All right, let's get going. So last time around, the party was still split when we started last session. On Kruk Island, Patrick and Shyma, they had just reunited with Bev, who was taken there by Tawi. Kind of filled her in on what's been going on, what happened to Savitri, and the nature of like the Mythos library, all this huge collection of Mythos tomes and things that she had been sending teams out into the world to collect. Bev, you started reviewing some of those things, kind of building on what Patrick had already read, looking into her journals and texts. You kind of got a little insight into like what she thinks her goal is, and like looking at all the lies that this cult over the last 10, 12 years has been perpetuating, and what some of her concerns were, and why she was doing the research that she was doing. Patrick, you were trying to scout the island a bit, and then Ankana, which is your NPC friend, and Shyma, you started to work on that raft. Back on the mainland, Marie, Will, you left Pattaya and that little fishing village, and then you headed back to the airport where you inspected the plane because old Daniel Lohman threatened that he had issues with the plane and stuff. So, and you guys bought that hook, line, and sinker, which is pretty hilarious.
Well, he did have the cops sent to our hotel, so
did he?
Yeah.
Did he?
Alternatively, it could have been the man who saw you like super injured.
Yeah.
Or
I do
the
always fight
hotel
the man.
themselves when you
The
guys
man is
went
always
in.
trying to keep us down.
Yeah. I remember what you're talking about. You mean the time in which you walked through the lobby of your hotel looking as though you have just been nearly murdered, and Marie had
No,
just
that
been
was a
nearly
different
murdered, and
That was
you
a
kind of
different time.
copped a little bit in that attitude. I know there's so many times in which you've done this. And that was, by the way, the nice, like the Hotel Oriental, the really nice hotel, by the way, that you were
Super
walking
fancy
through
one.
this grandiose lobby, like dripping blood everywhere. Don't worry, it was mostly, including the blood of 2 men that you killed. So yeah. Anyhow, off topic. So you went to the hangar, you inspected a little bit, you looked at the plane, all that kind of stuff, and you learned that there were no limitations on the plane's ability to leave. So you contacted Frank. Frank and T had taken Lohman up to like T's family estate in the countryside, and so they, after some discussion, decided not to murder him, but instead like let him loose in the middle of nowhere without any shoes or supplies and stuff like that. Then Frank joined you all in the city, and the next day the three of you started doing flyovers over the island, and it was then that you finally spotted your friends. So you pulled together your funds and you bought a fishing boat. So you have a small rickety fishing boat, but it's big enough, and so you traveled back. And that's where you finally were reunited with your friends. There was some shock. Obviously, you have these hissing mouths on different people's body. We were just talking about that, as they are very annoying. And there was also some discussion, some arguments, over what to do with that Mythos library and what to do about Tawi and all that kind of stuff. Eventually, all of you got back on the boat. You brought your new NPC friend Ankana. You brought Grandmother Ravi, who is the grandmother of Savitri Sirakan, and you returned. And so we're going to pick up that morning. So so you guys get an idea of this, this is day 7 of your time in Bangkok. Starting tomorrow, Shyma, you're going to be able to make on day 8, you're going to be able to make your test for your major wounds, see if you heal a little bit. And then on day 9, Will and Bev will. But right now, day 7, it's early morning. I'm going to say like sun is coming up. You've reached the mainland. You've had your various discussions along the way. We don't have to like super RP it, but I'm really just kind of trying to get a sense of where are you all going? What are you doing with your newfound NPC allies? So what's the plan here?
What's the situation on the mainland here? Is it safe?
Safe enough as long as we get out of here. Tawi doesn't seem like he's going to leave his labyrinth or maze. We haven't been overtly pursued by anyone.
Can we just go back to the Oriental?
We
I think
we
switched
should find an
hotels.
entirely different hotel.
Oh, okay. Well, should we just go to that hotel then?
Be a good plan to start with, and then we'll meet up with Frank and make preparations to get out of here.
Sounds
Go
like
ahead.
a plan.
Patrick, you know the island, and apparently there's a lot of books left there. Maybe we should go back and just grab a couple of them and maybe hide the rest. That way they won't be found.
It's too big for you to hide anything.
We'll grab a few
Tawi
before we leave.
Goes to
The
the
most we
island.
can
Let's
do.
make sure we
Well,
grab the
Can we
most dangerous ones.
go to the hotel first and just kind of clean
Of
up
course, we just got
every
here.
book?
We've got all day.
We just got everyone back together again. We should stay together for a little bit, at least. I'm so very thankful to have seen all of you alive again. I really didn't think that was going to be possible.
We'll have to discuss what Savitri and Ankana want to do. Not Savitri, Ravi.
I don't.
Shyma will turn over to them and say, for now, would you want to come to the hotel with us? And then we can figure out what you want to do later. Did you have something you wanted to do right now?
So Ankana will like look down at her leg that is now. I'm going to say you guys found some clothes and things on the fishing, so she's dressed like some fisherman, right? And she looks down at her leg that bears her mouth, and you can even see the sleeves of the pants kind of moving, and you hear a little and she says, and she does most of her speaking in French. So for those of you who speak French, everything's working fine. She's not the greatest at English, but she says, until I can figure out what to do with this, I don't want to endanger my siblings. I'd be grateful if I could stay with you all for now.
I think that would be best so we can research how to help you with this.
She nods and thanks you all. And then Ravi is she's got this shawl kind of over top of her head. Her eyes are slightly discolored, but you can see they're definitely cloudy, and she's having trouble seeing. But as you guys are talking to her, you can see that her face is like just tilted up as the sun's coming up, and it's kind of tilted in that direction, kind of eastward a bit. And you're not sure if she heard everything. She's a little bit more, has a robust understanding of different languages, but she says, I don't have anyone. My granddaughter saw to that there is no one left. I have nowhere to go. I have nothing.
You can come with us, of course.
She doesn't really look back, but she has her back to you all. She's looking again, her face tilted up to the sun, and then you can see there's a slump in her shoulders, and then she just does this kind of soft, quiet nod at that, like she's resigned but not happy.
And Marie just sort of looks to Bev and Shyma like Marie doesn't own a place to stay back in Arkham. She just sort of we'll figure something out for her. Yes?
I gotta figure something out for myself, to be honest. I don't have a home in Arkham or anywhere in the States, really. So... Getting distracted by Jeff here.
I'm sorry, I just had a vision in my mind of the weirdest threes company between Will, Ravi, and Ankana.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I have to find a place to stay anyway, so it wouldn't be too much harder to find a place for you both to stay at the same time if you need.
We do have a benefactor who is interested in our success, so hopefully she would be able to be of some assistance.
Okay. So, for now, we return to the Trocadero as best we can en masse. So there's quite a few of you that show up. I imagine...
Piled in like a clown car.
Yeah. You might go in shifts. I don't know if all... I'm thinking... There's the 5 of you. Frank is 6. Ankana and Ravi makes 8. That's a lot to fit in.
Yeah.
Maybe Frank will wave his hand and says, "I can find my own way," and so it's a little bit easier for you at that point. And so, who has the lowest luck between Shyma and Patrick specifically?
56.
Probably 28.
28. Shyma, give me a luck test as you are passing through the Trocadero lobby, the staircases, etc., just to see if your hand...
22.
Look at that. And your hand the mouth, excuse me, your mouth is muffled. You can feel it gnawing away at whatever fabric you've used to mute it, and it's tearing through it, but at the very least, it's not hissing. Same with you, Patrick, and
I
Ankana.
feel actually lucky.
It's a good roll. And so I'll say you all are able to get either onto the lift or into the stairwell, and you're able to get up to your rooms without alerting anything. It is an odd look, obviously, but the Trocadero is not the Hotel Oriental, so it's less grandiose, and it doesn't seem like it's as big an issue. But you do draw attention. I mean, it's a large group of you, and some of you are dressed pretty strangely, shabbily. But you're able to make it back to your rooms. Do we want to hand wave some rest? Is that what we're doing? Are we resting?
I think so.
Okay.
Right?
Please.
Okay. So it's a morning of day 7. So what I'm going to say is, since you all made it back and you're finally getting some rest, I got some rewards for people. Shyma and Patrick, go ahead and roll a d6 for me.
Got a 4.
Very nice.
6.
Restore that much sand. As the rest
Amazing.
that you get, what dawns on you, despite your condition, despite the arguments that you all have had about what to do about the island, you all took out a major figure in the cult, possibly the head of some sort of Bangkok. You took her out. Like, she brought you to her island and you took her out. Regardless of what you do with the Mythos Library, regardless of Tawi, you have made a dent in the cult's plans, right? And so I think sometime over the night, it kind of dawned, or so over the day of rest, or however long you all want to sleep, that settles in. Everybody else, you can do a D3. You weren't there for the killing, but you were a part of the group and you were aware of it, so you're not going to get as much, but you are part of the team.
3.
Okay.
I seem to have some struggle editing my Sam there.
I'm sorry, Will. Do you apologize for being snippy?
I only rolled a 1. It's okay. I can waive it.
All right. I've given you back control. You have control. Okay. So between getting your friends back, between hearing about the fate, and some of you even seeing probably the body as well, I think it sort of, again, probably dawns on you all that this is a major blow. It's not unlike when you took out Jonathan Brooks and everything. Like, there was tragedy that came with it, but at the same time, that was a major step. And your kind of global problem here. So time will pass. You'll get some rest. Somewhere, do we want to literally do a day of rest, or is there concern to do like something later in the day, like an afternoon or an evening kind of
Will
scene
would
or
definitely
two?
have concern about hearing about the library and just generally wanting to see the
before
estate
that,
himself.
Before they go, I'd really like for Shyma to have just a few minutes with the group, to speak to them.
Okay. I mean, we could do maybe sometime later in the day, a meal. You all haven't really eaten, the two of you, especially Bev as well, haven't really eaten very well in the last couple of days. Shyma and Patrick have been in custody for 5 days, it seems like. So we'll say maybe a meal. Like,
I think it makes sense that we would be spending time debriefing because there was a lot to go over as well.
Yeah, for sure.
We just see this, like, in one of the rooms, one of like a suite, maybe you get, like, we see the group kind of huddle around, passing around food, talking, discussing, you know, maybe there's laughter, maybe there's hugs, maybe there's like arguments, whatever it might be. We just kind of see this scene set as the day progresses. All of you that kind of came from such a horrible place have showered and changed at this point, probably, and like maybe you're back into some of your clothes. Bev, Patrick, and Shyma, anything you all had on you when you went into the sewers, it's gone. It's been taken, destroyed, etc. So like you're just putting on whatever you have. And so yeah, we can open up a scene if there's something Shyma wants to do.
Yeah, just real quick. At some point through the debrief from the jogging, Shyma's been looking like kind of avoiding eye contact and looking quite embarrassed and sheepish. And when there is a lull in the conversation, she kind of making a point to not like interrupt or anything. And when there's sort of a natural kind of stopping point with everybody else, she'll kind of pipe up and, you know, clear her throat. And I feel like I owe everybody an apology for yesterday. I really wasn't myself. And it's not how I was raised. I just I didn't feel like you were listening to me, and nobody really ever listens to me. And I'm really sorry. And she kind of looks at like Patrick and Dr. Kiki, and I would never hurt you. I would never hurt you. And she looks at Marie and Willick. if I made it feel like it wasn't important that you were looking for us, I'm sorry. That's not how I meant to make it feel.
Apology
I'm sorry.
accepted, Shyma. Okay. We're not in the right minds yesterday. We've gone through a lot.
And just kind of physically, like yesterday, Shyma was like all menace and broad shoulders, and in this moment, like, if you could describe someone as physically having the fight beat out of them, like that's kind of what she looks like right now. Is just really shrunken and that kind of wallflower energy that is fairly difficult.
I
And
truly can't imagine the horrors that you and Patrick went through on that island. And
yeah, I just hope my mother's okay. I couldn't have seen her. I know I couldn't have seen her, but I spoke to her for hours. You don't understand. I spoke to her for hours.
Not
And the
quite what I
only
saw.
reason I know she's there is because Mr. Price says he did see her.
What I saw, you just babbling to yourself. Embarrassing to say so, but
when you're in,
Didn't
yeah.
feel like that. It felt like I was talking to Dr. Key when she showed up at the island. It felt like that. It felt real.
Our brains are beautiful things, and when you need to cope, they'll do what they need to help you. And so maybe you really truly needed your mom right then, and she wasn't there, but your brain knew that that's what you needed to get through this, and she was there for you in her own way.
Shyma, I saw you take a lot of hits in that fighting, in that hallway towards the fighting pits, and there were 12 guys just frankly beating the shit out of you. You've been under a lot of stress, and
it's okay. These things happen. It's fine.
not that often. It's something that pushes you, and you don't need to worry about it. We'll move on.
She kind of nods. Whatever you all want to do, I will help.
I think it's just. Go ahead, Patrick.
I was just saying we made a huge dent already. I think we should prepare to leave.
I think we just need rest and to recuperate, and honestly, we've gathered so much information. We have so much to go over and truly figure out what's next. Like, what do we need to do?
She kind of looks at her hand, which is wrapped in athletic tape, but there's like a huge bit of saliva where the mouth is obviously trying to get through it. And if we do have time, I'm gonna spend that time going over. I know she revered the mouth, and I'll be honest, it is difficult to not think of it as part of you becoming a god, but I know we have to get rid of it, and I know there's only some experimentation that is okay to do. But I want to go through her journals if we have time and see if there's something there. I don't expect anything direct, but maybe I can reverse engineer something.
I looked because that was my first concern, but maybe you'll find something I missed. But
it's spending time with their journals. I can't go back to the university like this anyway. So I'll have time if nothing else. And she kind of just looks down and smiles. Anyway, that's all. I'm
Well,
sorry.
if that's settled, there's one other point to think about. We haven't really made much profit in this trip. And if there's a lot of rare books that those kind of books go for a lot of money, just sitting there, we could grab a couple, fence them, deny Tawi them. Might as well make a quick trip before he goes and loots it all himself, right? It's fortune just sitting there.
One last trip before we go.
And Marie just sort of clucks her tongue in both of your directions. I do believe Doctor's orders, Mr. Sawyer, did not include ransacking a island library when a very large gentleman might want to have your head.
No, it's liberating. These will go to collectors who will take care of them. Knowledge should not be limited to those who just hoard it for themselves. It should be for everyone. This is for the greater good, really.
Aren't you quite the revolutionary thinker?
All of that, but Miss Wynn, I think you're. Normally, I would agree with you, but the owner of the library is very much dead, and I don't think it's ransacking anymore.
It's fine, and Marie sort of looks over to Patrick. You seem to have fared a bit better. Patrick doesn't have a major wound, right?
Yeah, I have no major wound.
Okay. If I'm
relax, we're not going to get in a fight. If we see anyone on the island, we'll turn the boat right back around.
Have to be very, very careful about where you go because the island is littered with traps.
Hey, I'm always careful.
No, I.
And Marie just sort of pokes Will, who's got a grand total of how many HP right now?
3.
3, yeah.
Patrick,
the two of you
got
just
caught
be safe.
In a trap, and I almost got caught in a trap, and this is definitely not the first time she has hunted people on her island.
Noted.
I'll stay here and
he'll
try to help you.
We've paved a way back and forth. It should be okay.
Just be careful.
Always.
Just bring me something back to read, would you?
You want like romance or historical fiction?
Some Nora Roberts books over there.
Fabio on the cover.
Just get a bunch of like airplane mass market, like airport mass market books. For
yeah.
Okay, so we'll say that was like some sort of like midday kind of meal. So just in terms of the timeline here, are we thinking? So Will and Patrick are thinking of going back, trying to grab some of those books. Are you thinking of going the next day? Are you thinking of going at night?
I would say earlier is better.
Okay.
What about you, Patrick?
Yeah, after the job's done on the island, we should get out of here if it's ready.
Yeah.
Okay. So does that mean you want to go back at night and night's more dangerous? Or do you wait until morning?
I think night could be better for us because it'd be easier to see if people are there. They'd have lights.
It's more dangerous from a driving your boat. Neither of you are naval people.
Yeah, it sounds terrible, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so how about we go to Pattaya, spend the night there, and then leave at first light?
That can be done.
Okay.
Okay. So then that's what we'll say happens. We'll say that Bev, Marie, Shyma, you're staying at Trocadero. Is that correct? Am I understanding that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Will, Patrick, you get in your car that you have acquired from probably T. I think you probably still have T's car. That's probably what you have. Is you probably still have T's car.
We swapped cars because one got beat up pretty good.
Yeah. I think we kind of hand waved it. I feel like you've just been purchasing automobiles, but that's fine. Why stop now? And so you drive on down to Pattaya, and maybe wherever it is that you managed to, like, it's probably not like a proper like hotel. It's probably just like some kind of room like above someone, like a fisherman's hut or something like that. Like you just kind of buy. Maybe you seek out the same guy you talked to the other night. And we'll say that's where you all crash down. Bev, Marie, Shyma, you crash down at the Trocadero. I need Patrick and Shyma to give me some luck rolls as you try to get a good night's rest in a proper place in an actual bed. Let's see if your mouths allow you to.
I failed with the 78 over 28.
Okay.
So no.
78 over 28. Okay. So Patrick, you whatever it is that you do to keep your the mouth quiet, you wrap enough around it, or you pin your arm in a particular way, or maybe however it is that you want to do it. It's fine. Every morning though, no matter what you wrap over it, by the next morning it's gnawed through it. But you do enough, and it doesn't squirm or move, and it doesn't hiss loud enough, and I'll say you've managed to sleep through the night. Shyma, on the other hand, at a certain point in the middle of the night, Bev and Marie and others, you all hear like a yelp and then a hiss, and when you like look around and you try to assess where it's coming from, you find Shyma with her arm, like her hand is just kind of gnawing away right around down by like her thigh as the hand is just kind of fallen. Shyma, you take 1 point of damage as you wake up to the sight of the mouth that's in your palm chewing away through like the wrappings, through the athletic tape, through your clothes, and has now begun to gnaw away at your flesh a bit. The three of you are able to quickly pull it away so that it doesn't do any more damage, but it has left a mark, a noticeable chunk missing from your skin. And let me roll for Arcana too, actually. And you hear a similar yelp and similar hissing coming from her Arcana as one of her legs somehow became crossed over the night as she was rotating or just like rolling around in maybe unfamiliar terrain, and it just kind of starts to gnaw away, and she's like bleeding, and you can see on whatever cot that she has been staying in. Okay, there is good news for you though, Shyma. As morning comes, you do not get a good night's sleep, but it has been 7 days as of this morning from when you got your first major wound. Or excuse me, got your major wound. I don't know why I said first major wound. When you said you got your major wound. So,
dear.
yeah, so you're going to get to roll. However, so you're going to roll. What you're going to do is you're going to roll a contest to finally get a little bit of HP back. To see if you get any HP back. So the way it's going to work is it's the end of the week. You roll a contest. Then you're going to roll yours with a penalty.
Determine what happens.
You're going to roll with a penalty die, as because you spent the majority of the week in a very poor environment and unable to get sufficient rest, and weren't like in a hospital with a caregiver. So you're going to roll this with a penalty die, and so give that a rip, give that a roll,
Okay.
and then based on what you roll, we'll determine how much your hip injury has healed.
Okay.
Okay.
So success with the
Yay.
66.
Excellent. Okay, so you're going to regain 1d3 hit points. So go ahead and roll a 1d3.
Okay. I am very happy to have this because it's a 3. Oh, that's
Awesome.
amazing because I was just down to
Yay.
1.
Okay, so restore your 3. And the rule and the way it works is if this would put you at half of your full hit point total, which I know it doesn't, you would heal the major wound as well. Otherwise, the major wound stays. So while you finally managed to get it properly cleaned, maybe overnight or something like that, proper bandaging on it, you still have the major wound for now, but you did get 3 HP back. So you it's a mixed bag come morning. Some good, some bad. Okay.
Any little bit helps.
It really does.
And then everybody else who needs to, I think so. Patrick is actually probably the only one this applies to. You just do your normal recovery. But Marie is full, and then Will and Bev have their wounds, and you'll be tomorrow. The 2 of you will be tomorrow. Okay. All right.
How is Marie so healthy?
I mean, Mexico didn't treat her well, so she kind of
it's balancing out. It's balancing.
Yeah, exactly.
She's still like, as she's looking at everyone, just you just see her, kind of, and she feels a scar of like the gunshot wound, like kind of on her abdomen, and she still feels it, but yeah, she's healthy, and
I'm
got a little
sorry, I'm just
back,
being
which is also
sassy
good.
today.
Okay, so Will, Patrick, you get out to the boat. Are you bringing Frank with you?
Not to the island. If he drove with us, that would be his call.
It's up to you. If you guys want him with you, you can have him with you. If you don't want him with you, he doesn't have to be with you.
I'd say no unless you say otherwise, Patrick.
Okay.
Isn't he like pretty good piloting or navigating? I'm not sure if you can do that.
He has he can drive, he can pilot, he can move, but he's very good at all that kind of stuff.
If not, he can prepare our plane so we can leave immediately when we're back.
Okay. And maybe you get him on the phone. Maybe that's what you tell. Like you give him. Are you planning to leave like later this evening? Like when you get back? Okay. He's like, all right. Yeah, no problem. I'll have it ready. No problem. Okay. And we'll bring in the other 2. It's going to be a little tight squeeze, but we'll be all right. I'll move a few things around. It'll be fine. No one packed heavy, right?
We're all pretty light. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No problem. I'll get it all fueled up.
Tell him to make sure he knows that we're bringing back a box or 2 of books.
Yeah, there'll be a couple of books. I'm sure you can fit it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You guys aren't going to get hungry or anything on the flight. We could probably just get rid of the snacks and things. Probably fine. Okay. Yeah. I'll figure it out. I'm really good at that spatial kind of orientation kind of thing. No problem. Okay, and so the 2 of you get on your boat, and we see you as the sun is like beyond risen. You can see like there's already boats out in the water doing the proper work of fisher folk, and the 2 of you get on their boat and you start navigating out to the island. Marie, Bev, Shyma. You also have Ravi and Ankana around if you want, and I would say that Marie, you probably have the means to contact T if you want to, and the means obviously to contact Frank. What would you say the 3 of you are attempting to do today while Will and Patrick are off getting themselves killed?
I don't think I have anything specific, so over to you, Ez.
I think Marie, being the social person that she is, like there's 2 new individuals here, and so she would, I would say, be chatting up Ankana and Ravi. I only speak. I have 5 in Thai, and I've got some Spanish and English. So
I can help translate with the French with Ankana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even Ravi has, you can tell, a decent smattering of English. From what you understand, their family comes from a fairly like noble line, like well educated, wealthy, and so you can tell that she's greatly fallen from that. I mean, just seeing the island, especially, Shyma, like the mansion, the estate was beautiful, and even moving about it, despite all the grime beneath it, there was artwork that was destroyed, mosaics, there was paintings, there was murals, tile, beautiful piano, all these things these were the upper crust, the upper echelon. And so likely she's had some education in that. So she can probably help, although you can tell she is extremely sad. Like you can tell that there is a great somberness that is overtaking her, and when you ask her to do something, she absolutely will, but she does so almost just because there's really not much else for her to do. You can tell you can probably get the vibe that she's relieved in some ways to be freed from the terror of her granddaughter, but she's away from her. She's away from her family's island. Her family has been destroyed, and she is nonetheless willing to make some help in conversing. Before we get into that, one other thing I would throw out for Bev and Shyma, we talked a little bit about this last week, but you could, if you're looking at the journals, remember that there's the skimming and then there's like the poring over, and one of the things you could potentially do to reduce the time, right, is you make these library use rolls that can shorten the time. But if you teamed up on it, so people could people can team up, especially on stuff like journals, because there's multiple journals, or the library because there's so many books, you have the potential to shrink some of that time if you team up. So if that's something of interest to the two of you, Bev, you got credit for skimming and getting some basics, but there might be more in there as well.
Yeah, Shyma did express that that's something that she wanted to do, so Bev would be willing to help her.
That'd be great.
Okay, so let's deal with this because these are some roles, and then we'll get into some role play with Marie and your new friends. So by default, it would take about a month to pour over these things. And remember that pouring over is not just like reading it, but reading it and cross-referencing and rereading and trying to decipher and intuit. And it's like deep reading of stuff. So the two of you could potentially reduce some of that time. So both of you give me library use rolls.
Oh, doke. Oh, awesome, Bev.
And yeah, let me know how well you do. The better you do, the more you reduce.
Sure, my computer just being a little funny.
I'll spend 3 luck to get a hard success from Beverly.
Okay. That makes sense. Oh, Shyma.
Maitreyi, your dice luck for the last several weeks has been
I'm telling you, right?
rough.
It's so bad. Like,
It'll turn.
The universe has just decided that I don't get to play this game.
Long took all of your dice luck.
He took
I
all
think
of it.
so.
He was
Long
a sponge on the island.
jump.
Dude, that
Mel,
fight.
you
I was always
gotta
going to remember
take
that
those
fight.
green
Like,
dice
extreme
away from
success. Hard success
Patrick's
is
like, yeah, I've got a 3. Oh, I rolled a 5. Cool. I spent 2 luck to succeed.
okay. So, here's what I'll say is, as the two of you spend some time with the books, spend some time, and we can even flavor it as maybe Bev like making runs to like the university and trying to get into that library there and kind of cross-referencing, or if there's any tomes or books that you brought with you that you're kind of looking this and that at, you can potentially find some, we can kind of flavor it that way. And you have, between the two of you today, you have reduced your time, since you did a hard success, you're going to reduce it significantly. So you probably need maybe a week or so. But one of the things I would say, there's 2 things I'm going to say that you get right off the bat, is that you at no point as you go through these journals, whether, Shyma, you're looking through a few, Bev, you're looking for a few, you see absolutely no discussion, no theory crafting, no rituals that would account for removing the mouse. There's nothing at all. What you do discover, and some of it is kind of written in this weird kind of cryptic code, and you're often having to like pull over Ravi or Ankana to help sort of decipher some of the Siamese language.
Would you say cryptology?
Yeah, I mean, it could help. This is me flavoring it.
Okay, I got
more than anything. You notice that she has made a good chunk of the journals seems to be her like listing what she considers kind of like a list of known mythos deities, like this grouping of these creatures, these deities. Some names, the easiest ones to decipher at first are the names that you've heard before. So you see like Golgoroth pops up. You see you see like Nyarlathotep pop up, and you see others. And what it really boils down to is that it looks like she is systematically going through what she considers kind of a known canon of these deities from different dimensions, different times, different places. and creating arguments for why that particular deity doesn't align with this this sort of thing with 1,000 mouths, this liar from beyond. You get a very clear sense that she is trying to identify who the true deity was, this entity that they were trying to summon and contend with back in 24, because she feels that not only has Echevarria and Trammell lied and then been mistaken, but so has some of the other names that you've heard, including like Sancho Dominguez and Jonathan Brooks from Mexico. You don't see that she's come to any conclusion yet about who it would be, but you can definitely tell she is obsessed with trying to find the identity of this creature. It'll take some time to kind of dig through it, a little bit further to kind of get the skill gains that come with this. But that's kind of the gist of what the two of you get as you're going through her work today. And then Marie, you said you were speaking with your newfound friends. So probably they pull Ravi over periodically to do some translation. So you might get more time with Ancana, but both you're able to discuss. So what is Marie doing? What are you asking? What are you doing? What do you think?
I would say initially just being sort of the person in the room that seems to be the most stable at the moment, just trying to kind of be like from an HP and recent experience kind of a situation.
Sure. Okay.
She's a mess life-wise just at the moment. So just trying to make sure their needs are met, that they've got water, that they've got all those kinds of things, and then making sure that they're all comfortable, just sort of getting to know them. Where like for Ancana, especially if she's not going to be traveling with us, then especially kind of finding out where she came from, how long she was there, what her experiences were like, and those types of things. So,
and we'll say like this conversation is something that probably takes a while. She doesn't probably immediately open up to you, and it's probably like this, you learning Siamese from her, and she's kind of learning English from you, this like exchange. Like she could tell she's probably a little bit better at English than you probably are at her language, but she tells you that she's basically was able to get a job as a clerk in the French embassy. And it's one of the reasons why her French is so so good, to be honest. And she kind of tells a relatively sad story about like she's from a working class family. About how her father died when she was very young, and she was the oldest, and there was just like no income. There was just nothing coming in. And so she took all sorts of various jobs. And so she would do different things. She would watch children. She would fix things. She would fetch things. And so that kind of gave her this relatively broad sense of ability and skill and knowledge, but never like anything with a particular expertise. But eventually, like, she got a position as a clerk, and she was, again, just kind of filing paperwork and running things here and there. And then occasionally she would, like, as like kind of like an attaché, she would kind of go off with one of the proper diplomats that worked in the embassy. And that's where the trouble came, where there were some very wealthy foreigners who needed various translations and such. So she was along with the ride, and she was kind of taken to this honey shop. Like they were doing drugs in the stands, like whatever it was, like in the crowd. There was fights that were breaking out in the crowd. There was people walking around with machetes. There was awful things happening. And then during one of these fights, she kind of stumbled and fell, and then she starts to like break down at that point. And she like describes, and it might even be the first time she's done this, that she killed people. Like she had to. Like if she didn't, they would have killed her. And then she starts to like almost vomit at one point as she starts to describe what they did with those who were killed. in that pit. They were just like carved up, cubed, and shoved down the grates of this pit to something. She didn't know what happened after that. When she survived these fights, though, she kept surviving like that. She's been surviving her whole life. They decided to send her somewhere else with a few others, and that's how she made it onto the island. She kind of gives you this whole story.
It's just as much as she's okay, just kind of patting her arm and, kind of getting her a wastebasket and just trying to not, like, my face maybe showing disgust, but Marie's definitely keeping herself like in listening mode and just sort of being encouraging and supportive and comforting.
And anytime you reach out and like touch her and kind of try to calm her, like you see like her leg jerk and then the rest of her body does. You hear this and like you see dribbling down the pant sleeve, like some drool coming down from the mouth. Like you're constantly going through fabric, like the sleeves of the legs, like they've been eaten through, and so you're constantly having to wrap something new over and over and over again throughout the day. Okay. And so as all of you continue with that, Shyma, Bev with the work, Marie speaking with Ancana a bit, and honestly, I don't think you've gotten like a somewhat of a debrief of probably about what happened with Patrick, but the story of Patrick is very similar to her story about like fighting in the pits and such. She just was in it longer. So we'll cut then over to Will and Patrick, who arrive. Give me a navigation test, actually, Will. Let's see how long this takes.
Yeah, I got 60 navigation, and that is a 46.
Nice.
Okay, pass, I assume.
Yes,
regular pass. Sorry, I didn't hear the first number. Okay, so you've made the trip twice now, both on water and in the air. So, Will, you seem to have a general sense of it. You pass by some boats that kind of look at you and try to wave you off from the way you're going. They're like waving and waving, trying to get you not to go there. But eventually, the two of you arrive back at Kokruk. Will, you are in pretty terrible condition, as you've got your wounds that you're contending with. Patrick, you see a place that you've been imprisoned in for a few days. But when you approach, it looks dead. There's no light. There's no activity. There is nothing attached to the dock, no signs that anyone's there now or has been there all throughout the day. You've been gone for a little over 24 hours at this point. So you arrive, tie up the boat. You can see the dock kind of moves and slides a bit. And then what's next?
I'll lead the way,
Sit with
Will.
me. Let's make this quick. In and out, right?
You're right. I don't want to stay here any longer.
All right.
Let's keep a lookout for traps too. I know you said you've been here, but can't hurt to be careful, like they said.
Okay. Do you stick
I've
together? Do you split up?
Track? Yes, definitely
Okay.
stick together.
Alright.
I've got track, so if I can, I'd like to just like be looking for footsteps of like paths that have been used more often. Hopefully that would not lead us into a booby trap if someone's already walked into something like that.
Okay. You can give me a track.
Is that the wrong kind of skill for that?
I
Would it be-
probably would have wanted a spot hidden to see traps specifically.
It's pretty
but I'll
much the same thing for me. It's 40 and
Yeah.
45.
But roll your track because we don't usually get to roll these other skills all that often. So let's do track.
Okay, that is a 79.
Okay.
And even with the luck that I don't get because I'm sassy, I can't afford to do that. So I think I would like to push.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Patrick,
Absolutely.
are we okay taking a little bit more risk?
Why are you roping in on him on this?
Shouldn't I just be able to help him because I've been through here a couple times?
You certainly could, but he's
I
specifically
already rolled.
looking for traps
Okay.
and things like that.
Yeah, just push it
so-
then. It's fine.
I'm going to get under 40.
Okay.
That's an 87.
Okay.
Oh,
Did
wow.
worse.
Oh,
So there is there's quite a bit of tracks, in fact, right outside the dock on the shore, up that path that leads to the estate. And largely it's because 24 hours ago there were quite a few people here. All of you, your two new NPC friends, Frank, etc. All of you were kind of coming and going, and so Will, you struggle at least getting off the docks to find anything that suggests like a particular path is better than the other. But at the same time, you've walked this path before, and so you manage to get up into the estate, no issues. You start walking up the stairs, and you feel some of the steps give way a bit. You can feel them bend. Every now and then, you hear the sound of like something skittering, or maybe the building itself settling, and it's kind of an unnerving feel. But you push forward. You make it into the library, and you can see again the books spread out all over, floor to ceiling, stacks upon stacks as well, just haphazard in some ways. There's probably an organization to it, but you don't necessarily know what. And you start looking around. So are you looking to collect some books before you do whatever it is that you're going to do? Is that the idea?
Yeah, I'd like to grab, let's say, like 5-ish books of decent size that look to be somewhat valuable. I know this is just entirely judging a book by its cover. I'm not flipping through or anything like that. Just like, okay, this one looks bigger and more expensive than the one next to it, that kind of thing.
Okay. I'll tell you what. Give me 5 D100 rolls.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have a 21 in archaeology, if this helps.
You just said you were taking things without really looking at them.
That's what archaeology is.
But I was waiting for you to say these things belong in a museum. But,
Belong in a museum.
Okay. So the D100 rolls. The first one is a 25.
Okay, 25. Wait on that. You get... okay, so you find a relatively good condition. Something in English too, so maybe that draws your attention. A book that has... It's unlike so many of the other things you hear. It's not waterlogged. It's not grimy. It's called In Pressured Places. So that's one that you've discovered. Give me a second.
94.
Of course, I have to scroll. Thanks. Okay, the next one you get is also in English, Legends of Laqualia. Again, looks to be in relatively good condition. It almost looks mint in the sense that it doesn't look like it has like the spine is still intact. It doesn't look like it has any kind of damage done to it. Give me another.
Pay more if they're still in good quality, I say to Patrick as I put it in my bag.
Okay.
Next one is a 64.
Okay, 64. You find another relatively good condition, recent publication. You notice, in fact, Visions from Yadith.
I'm drawn to new stuff. I'm a bad archaeologist.
Is that English, Jeff?
Also in English, yeah.
Next one's 43.
43. Okay. Hang on. Sorry. I clicked the wrong button. Okay, so 43, you find a book called Revelations of Glaaki. It is, and it's not so much a single book, but you realize it is a grouping of volumes that look to be in its own kind of like leathery sleeve. And so you start to count, and there's like 12 of these more slender volumes inside of this large kind of wrapping of leather. So it looks in some ways like, well, bang for the buck kind of deal.
It still only counts as one.
However, as you pull it off the shelf, as you like, you're reaching, you take an extra step forward, you hear a click. And then as you do so, you feel a spike come up out of the floorboards and rupture through your leg. You're
Waited
going
till
to
I was
take,
off guard.
yeah, you're going to take 4 points of damage.
Oh no, he doesn't have 4 HP.
I don't. I'm down to -1.
Okay.
Oh
So,
shit.
Patrick,
Did you
what
forget
were
to
you
check for a
doing?
trap or something?
I pushed my roll earlier, is what
He
it was.
pushed his roll. I'm just carrying it forward. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been in Rabbi's
yeah,
room
yeah.
looking for supplies that can light a place
Okay.
on fire.
Give me a listen test to see if you hear Will. Otherwise, Will could potentially bleed out to death before you get back to him.
Extreme success. I can hear
Oh
him.
my gosh, Long.
You hear you in this. You should live here, Patrick. You roll so
no,
freaking
no.
well. You are meant to be here. You should just stay here and read all the books. You hear the sounds of Will screaming in pain, coming from up in the library.
I'll drop what I was doing and run over there. Will.
Okay. When you get up there, you look around. You don't hear him. And then you see there he is on the ground. Pool of blood. You can see his pant leg has been ruptured. His calf is like literally sliced down the middle. Like some kind of machete just shot up out of one of the floorboards and seems to have just ripped his calf muscle in half. And he is bleeding out. You can see that there is, he's got some books and he's got like something in his hands, like a bundle of books, but he's right there and he is literally dying right now. So, okay.
I just put that in chat. Are you dying right now?
So
Yeah.
I'm going to want one contest from Will to see if when you get here, he's alive or dead. If Will fails this roll, he will be dead when you arrive.
All right, I got to do this one
Holy.
in Foundry so that it's all over the table.
You have, so give it a go.
It's going to be an extreme success, guys. We're fine. Sorry, I'm having trouble clicking the button.
A little nervous.
Oh my god. Oh my
Will.
god.
Wake up, Will.
For the audience, I have a 60 Constitution, and I just rolled a 98.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Okay. I just want to make sure
Well
that we
played,
did that
Long.
right.
Well played. Will.
Just want to make sure we did this right. Just double checking.
So anyone that's in a scene with Long.
Do you have 30 luck?
Oh,
Do you
God.
have that 30
There's
luck?
no
Do you
dice
have
luck
30
left.
luck?
You have 30
No.
luck?
I do. Well,
do?
no, because I technically was sassy, so I don't
You
get
have-
the 17.
You've got 32.
Got your luck.
I completely
Do you-
forgot about that. I do have 30 luck. I will flush all 32
Okay.
luck that I have
Okay.
in the most benign situation.
I'm just following your lead. You're the one who pushed the roll.
I am not
pushed the
blaming
roll.
you at all. I know this is all my
the
fault.
sassy thing.
The
This
fault
is
is all on
the
this side of the webcam.
recompense.
I didn't really. All I did is roll a d6. That's all I did. That's how much damage you're taking.
This is why I
Pat.
roll physical dice, so I can lie when I get a 98. But, you know,
Here's what I'll say, Patrick. When you get there, he looks dead. Like he looks like he's pale. He's not breathing. He's not moving. And you're just like, and you see like this pool of blood underneath him, and he looks dead. What do you do, Patrick?
I'll shove the books he's holding out of his hands. Just make sure he's really dead. Like, wake up. Come on, Will. Not like this.
And so you reach down, you kind of, what does it look like when you try to check? Like, are you like doing like a pulse check? Are you just slapping him? Are you just like, what is it you're doing?
I'm like shaking him, making sure he's really dead.
Okay. And so then like, as you shake him, at a certain point, his head like hits the floor, and that, unexpectedly wakes you back up. That sudden surge and your eyes open, and you can see that there is Patrick looking down on you.
I immediately like start scrambling, like pushing myself back, and then my hands are still cut up. My leg is cut. I push myself and I just collapse because I don't have any calf muscle anymore. What happened?
Oh, God, you triggered something here in the library. It doesn't look good.
I pull off one of my leather suspenders and I start wrapping it around my leg as best I can, just stemming the bleeding. Not necessarily doing first aid or whatever, but just making sure that I won't bleed out. But
avoiding certain death, you spent the points, so that's in Pulp Cthulhu, page 61. So roll a d6 plus 1. That's how much you get from the spend. So we'll flavor your wrapping as kind of getting that health back. Okay. You somehow end the scene with more HP. Oh goodness. Okay.
It's the adrenaline.
That doesn't feel right.
You
Can
know?
I go back? I think 3 sounds
It's
right.
fine.
Like where I was.
We're playing it as it is. We're playing it by the rules right there. I'm looking right at it.
I know. Yeah.
So as Will's color starts to come back to his face, Patrick, you can tell like more and more like his leg. He's gonna be limping for weeks, but if not longer. But like he's starting to come back. You can see the light coming back to his eyes. You can see the color coming back to his face. Like he's definitely coming back from it, but it was close.
I think we've gotten enough here. We should leave.
Should burn this place down.
I think there's some supplies in the room across. Was he able to find anything?
Yeah, I would say you could. I mean, there's definitely, you're probably finding, not necessarily in the grandmother's room. She probably has some small bits of it, but if you continue to search the grounds, there's definitely reservoirs of things. Like you can tell that Savitri has various like drums of oil and stuff that probably were brought to her from by Tawi or whatever. So I would say if you're looking to, are you looking to burn the place down?
Yeah, we're setting it up.
So you're just going around while Will is limping out of the estate
With my volume of 12 books.
Throwing kerosene on everything over the over the house, over the that crumbled piano, the dining room where you nearly died and she dove out the window, and then the library itself where you killed her and where all these books remain. You have a couple bundles of books to bring back to give to Shyma and Bev. And what does it look like then, Patrick, as you set fire to it? Like, what's the process? What do you think it looks like?
The final trail leading outside of the house next to Will. Find that cigar that was left in here. Light that up first. And then drop the lighter onto the trail.
Okay. And so the trail lights up. It goes in, and very quickly, because we can start seeing between some of the broken rafters, the splits on the walls here and there, the flame begin to grow, smoke begin to cascade upwards, and then the two of you get back on the boat and drive away.
Good riddance. Let's get out of here.
Okay. I'll say you guys don't return to the mainland until nightfall, and at a certain point, probably halfway through, you can look over your shoulder and you can see the blaze is still going on the horizon, the darkening horizon. You can see like the orange glow. And when you get back to Pattaya, you can hear people talking like about it. Like there's people huddling and pointing out towards the horizon. And there's definitely conversation happening. At this point, it's dark, so it's harder to see everything specifically, but like you can tell that they're talking about fire, the bits of Siamese that you've managed to glean. Like you could hear bits and pieces of it. Okay. And so then the two of you head back up. It's about a 2-hour drive back to Bangkok. Okay.
Yeah. No sense staying the night in the fishing village again.
Checking back in with Bev, Shyma, and Marie. At a certain point, one of you goes down. I would say you probably get alerted to a phone call. Then coming for you all. So I'm coming to your room.
Okay.
Who would take
Marie would probably.
Okay.
No,
Oh, is it coming up to our room?
I'm gonna say, yeah, sure, why not? It's 1930. What year is it? 1937. Yeah, we'll say you have a nice room. You bought one of the nicer rooms, so maybe there's a phone room. That's fine.
Okay, then anyone can take it. I was just gonna say if I had to go downstairs, Marie's looking in the best shape, but yeah, anybody can grab it.
And it's Frank. and he says, "All right, I got the plane all gassed up. It's ready to go. If you all want to come on out." I talked with Will and Patrick this morning. They said to get it ready, and they said you all wanted to head out tonight. Just get out of here as soon as possible. Are you all ready?
Patrick and Will aren't here yet.
Don't worry. Will's a smart kid. He'll make sure Patrick's all right. It's not a problem.
Okay, yeah, we'll start heading over now then.
Okay, all right. I had to move a few things around. I would say only bring what's important. There's for taking on extra passengers. It's going to be kind of a tight fit, but we'll be all right.
Yeah, quite a few of us lost a lot of our stuff when we were taken, so...
Oddly enough, that's going to help.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see you soon. Be safe.
All right, see you.
Keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah.
Okay. So, is there anything else that you all want to do before you head to the airport?
I'd like to go home now.
Where's home?
Okay. For the second time in just a couple days,
Will.
we see Will bleeding in the back seat,
Yeah.
like Tim Roth from Reservoir Dogs again, and Patrick just talking to him, trying to keep him awake. Okay, we good? We all go to Bangkok, the airport, Don Mueang Airport.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
You get over there. You've got Ravi. Are you trying to talk? Like, Ravi is, like, at this point just resigned to follow you. Are you bringing Ankana with you? You can tell that she's very torn, like, on this situation. Like, we'll say maybe you guys are at the air. Maybe we'll do like a quick scene at the hangar, and all of you are there, and Frank is there. And at this point, Will and Patrick finally roll up. Patrick's limping, and he's got a fresh bandage on his leg as he shows up. But they do have like a rucksack or something like that filled with some books for Shyma and Bev as they show up. What do you all say?
Shyma will say, I don't really. I think it's a good idea that you come with us, but I don't really have anywhere I can offer for you to stay.
So both Ankana and Ravi are kind of like talking to each other, and they're looking up at you all, and you can tell that they seem genuinely at a loss for what to do. Like, Ankana, you can tell, has been keeping it together, but like with your conversations, Marie, like, she's really worried. She has younger siblings. She kind of cared for them. Like, they're not like really young anymore. Like, she's in her 20s or so, and you can tell that she's just concerned for them but that she hasn't seen them. But at the same time, she doesn't want them to see this, her leg. And she says, "Do you really think you can?" Maybe this is to Bev, because Bev has brought it up a few times. "Do you really think there is a way to get this off of me?"
I mean, if there isn't something that we can find, then I think the worst case scenario would be amputation.
And she doesn't. You don't even see her recoil from that, and she just says, "I have thought about doing that very thing." And she's just like looking at her leg.
In a higher power.
Nods grimly behind Dr. Yi.
Yeah.
Do you believe in a higher power?
And she looks a little confused. "If you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would say yes, and they are benevolent. But now, after what I have seen," and she just shakes her head, "I don't know what to believe anymore."
When we encountered these in California, we came across a gentleman, and he had discovered a mouth that had formed in the ground from the house next door. It was encroaching, and he wholeheartedly believed in God. And sorry, my throat's all messed up. He put a cross in its mouth, and he prayed, and it turned to stone.
She could see her eyes like kind of light up at that. She looks like, I do not have my things. Do one of you? And she looks to. And do any of you wear like a cross or any other signage of what you follow?
Bev grew up Catholic. She doesn't wear it all the time, but she does have like a rosary that she keeps usually in her bedside.
Okay. Would you have brought it with you to Bangkok?
Yeah, she always keeps it with her.
And you wouldn't have. You probably a rosary. You wouldn't have brought on.
It would have stayed at the hotel. It would be in your
luggage. Yeah, you would probably still have it. And so she's thinking and thinking. So if I pray and I feed it, it will leave me be.
I haven't tested it myself, but he had full-hearted belief. And at that point, Bev would start digging through her luggage, and she'd pull out the rosary.
Mm-hmm.
And this was my mother's. And her voice kind of gets caught up. She passed when I was younger, but I believe in my mom, and I believe in God, and I believe that this can help you.
And she like reaches a hand out. She's considering taking it, but she also like kind of her eyes shift over to like Shyma and Patrick, and you can tell, you barely know me. I can't take this. If it means that much, then you have others that should have it.
And we will have opportunities to help them as well, but if we could keep you here with your family, that's important to me.
So she takes it then at that point, and she holds it in her hand, and she dangles the rosary down, and she kind of turns her leg up and carefully rolls up the sleeve of the leg, and she just feeds the bead, and you hear as it's just gnawing and gnawing, and eventually your beads are gone.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing happens immediately. So you don't really see any kind of, like, it doesn't calcify. I know that's what you're looking for. But you can tell that there is this, you can tell the mouth did not quite care for that. And so like there's like this twisting, and then it just vomits this bile with the beads, and it just kind of flops to the ground, and she's like kind of holding and trying to balance herself and nearly falls. And then you can see that it has just kind of flopped to the ground at this point. But the mouth is like howling in pain, but it is not calcified.
Shyma starts to get visibly kind of excited and pulls out a new notebook, because the one that she was taking all the notes in is no longer a thing. Pulls out a new notebook and writes down exactly that.
Okay. And then after a little bit of time, it does seem like the mouth begins to kind of retain its shape, its color, like as if this interruption is past. It had an effect, but not a permanent one, it seems. There's some missing ingredient or variable in the calculation. Like it seems like you're on to something, but there's still something possibly missing here. And you can tell like Ankana she is very like distraught and sad, and
We're
And
on the right track, I think, to avoid amputation. But Marie and Will, they did state that when they were caught, when someone else had gotten off the island, they had these mouths, they were swiftly dealt with. And not in a way that would reunite you with your family. Because I presume during our debrief, when they went to like the fishing village, they told us about.
Yeah, well, that person was already dead too.
The last local. Yeah,
that was a dead body that washed up. It wasn't like a living person.
Gotcha. I was listening on like ×2 speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marie, if it's okay, Marie would kind of look around Bev at Ancana and just say, I understand that you would want to be here with your family, but you have very, very smart women here who could experiment if you come back with us.
Or if you truly don't wish to leave, are there religious places that you could stay? I don't know if like convents.
She would look at you and she would say, and like look down at the leg, which is still dripping the vomit of like, there are nunneries and convents, yes, but I think those are not for these. They would take many, but I don't think they would look kindly at someone carrying this mark.
I think you're right, Ghana. I as difficult as it might be, I think staying away from people you love is the right idea. And I'm sorry that means you can't be with your family right now, but
She nods because something clicks and it feels like the two of you are on the same page, right? She like looks at you in the eye when you say that, and she nods, and then she'll agree to go. And Frank is just like,
I don't have anywhere you can stay. That's the problem. So, and she kind of looks at the rest of them like, do any of you?
We'll sort it when we land.
It's a long trip. Maybe we can sort it before we land.
I gotta find a place to rent once I land. I'll find them a place to stay.
All of our travels are being funded. We have a family who is paying for us to find answers. It may take us a little bit of time, but I'm confident that you will not be on the streets. We will find somewhere for all of us to lay our heads. And she sort of looks back out of the hangar just toward Bangkok in general, just safer than this has been.
I think
paying this too.
And you hear read the room, kid, as like Frank whispers it into your ear. And then she'll agree. Like, I think you've made a really good case. No roll necessary. I think you've made a good case, and she'll reluctantly agree. And similar to Marie, like she'll take like a really long lasting look at like the rest of Bangkok and then kind of climb up onto the plane. Okay. So you guys load onto the plane, Silverlance. I'll say we'll waive the details. Frank will have already taken care of whatever permissions are needed. The engines will start to go up, and like you can tell Ancana's nervous because like both of them are nervous because like they've probably never flown before. Definitely Ancana, so she's very nervous at this point. So she's like, whoever she's sitting next to, you could like she reaches out and grab like Patrick, she'll grab her like arm or something like that. And then the plane will take off, and you guys will at long last lift off of Bangkok and get the hell out of here. Somehow all still alive. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Doing my best not to
Okay.
be.
Okay.
Right?
I can't believe you
Gosh,
nearly
darn.
died
Oh my
again, you
God.
big dumb idiot. It's so ridiculous. I'm gonna drag. I'm gonna push. I'm like, all right. I'm gonna pass.
Me and my
Idiot.
3 HP got this.
Idiot. Okay. So you kind of do the reverse. You go from Bangkok to like Rangoon and to Karachi and like Cairo, and you kind of continue sort of peeling back the way you came. Will, you probably even have that moment like maybe we have a touchdown in Casablanca again, and you guys are making various stops to refuel, sometimes taking a night's rest or so. So in that time, let's have Will and Bev do their con rolls for their. So we'll do the first one for their major wounds. No bonus die
success
for
for
the
me.
two of you.
Yes.
But I'm not going to say a penalty die because actually, Bev probably should have a penalty die. Bev was in prison. Yeah, Bev, take a penalty die. Will, you were at least sleeping in beds. So yeah, Bev, give me that penalty die. I'm sorry. Okay. I think you still passed. Look at that.
Actually, you rolled the exact same thing.
You rolled the exact same thing.
I was so confused. I was like, where is it?
Yeah. So both of you take a D3 back of health.
I got 2.
Okay. And again, if you hit half of your max HP, the wound will go away. Otherwise, the wound retains. Okay. It will assume then that people are reading, people are talking. We don't necessarily have to role play the entire trip, but the trip itself is going to take roughly a week or so. So I'll say there'll be another round of rolls for all three of you. If you guys, so by the time we get back to Bangkok, I'll ask you, the three of you, to go ahead and give me another con roll. I'm going to say no penalty die this time, but I'm also not going to say any bonus dies because you guys have been traveling. So I don't really feel like you're really, you're not in the greatest condition here. So all of you can go ahead and do that again.
I succeeded this time with a 42 under 70.
Excellent. So another D3 for Shyma to get back.
And one for Bev as well. 32
Awesome.
over 50.
Mm-hmm.
And a fail for Will.
Okay, so Will, you do not regain any additional health, unfortunately. And you retain your major wound. Bev, what are you up to now?
I'm up to 5. I need to get up to 9 to get to lose it.
Okay, and Shyma, what are you up to now?
I'm at 7. I need to get up to 12.
Okay. So what we'll say then, as we land in Bangkok somewhere mid-January, as we land in Arkham, psych, just kidding. We're not going back to Bangkok.
Just like we're going right back.
It was all a dream.
We land in Arkham. You all have been traveling wounded. Some of you have been reading probably along the way. And as you descend, some of you are still wounded. Patrick, give yourself like you have 7 days worth of healing. So you're probably back to full, I think. You're pretty close, right? So we would have like 7 or 8 days worth of healing. So you can probably max yourself out.
Okay.
And you all return to Arkham. You land in the kind of like this private airport. Remember that the plane gets pulled over and eventually parked inside or outside of that private hangar, the very hangar where the opening meeting with Janet was. And you can see like it's got like a little living space, a little office, and there's room enough for the plane to park when necessary. But this is where Walter was spending a lot of his time away from time, right? This is like his little place. And now it's kind of been kind of taken, the dust has been removed as you guys have been kind of coming and going from it here or there. And Frank has taken care of it. So you've all returned to Arkham. I'm going to say we can go ahead and kind of break any kind of formal formal structure at this point, and we'll just kind of get into sort of a more loose form. But one other thing you all get is a D6. All of you roll a D6 for completing Bangkok. So sort of. Sort of.
That's 4 for me.
Okay, and that's sand regain.
6
So you're
for
A
regaining
me.
sand.
6. Holy moly.
You look at you, Patrick. You're a normal human being again.
That's crazy.
It is something that trip, that
was cathartic.
meditation along the way.
That one.
Oh, Bev. Well, you've been reading, so you're probably losing your
Yeah.
shit over some of
I'm
the
losing
stuff
my
you're reading.
goddamn mind. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we return. I'll say Frank makes a series of phone calls. Janet Winston Rogers is probably notified of your return. She, as you know, has been staying at the Hotel Miskatonic for a little while now, since an incident outside of her home. And there's just more security there, and she doesn't like being out in the middle of nowhere where her house is. But she's notified. He probably makes the case for finding an apartment of some kind for these 2 Siamese women that you've brought back with you from Bangkok in like a weird
That would be the
sort of
nice
way.
thing to do.
So we'll say that she will spot for that because she is the heiress of 2, not 1, but 2 very large fortunes. And so I'm going to turn it over to you guys. We'll play this kind of loosely. Like, what do you think your first, like each of your first business is when you get back? So I'm just going to go around the horn. We'll start with Will. Will, you've just gotten off the plane. You've assume everything's situated, luggage, etc., and assume that you're not dying either because the wound is okay enough. What's the first thing Will does as you land in the very, very frigid cold of Arkham?
Yeah, he wouldn't like that. It's been a while since he's been in the cold. But his first order of business would be along the same lines as our new guests would be finding an apartment, perhaps even like one near them so that they're familiar faces for him to stay at, because he doesn't actually have a home in the States. So he would settle down in Arkham while we're like doing the research phase of this investigation. Probably not permanently, but at least for a few months until we decide to travel again, or whenever we decide to travel again.
Okay, fantastic. So we'll say that so you get you're going to get a actual apartment relatively close to, or at least maybe neighboring. What's your credit rating look like?
My credit is 50.
Okay. So we'll say you're going to get one kind of in the downtown area, maybe somewhere that's not the most affluent of apartments, but it's also not it's not like a tenement house or anything like that. So we'll say that you managed to find a room for yourself. Ankana and Ravi managed to find a room. Are we saying an apartment, or are we just saying maybe you're just getting like kind of like a hostel or a hotel or something like that? What do you think?
Wouldn't be a hostel or a hotel. He would want something that's like his personal space, but he also wouldn't mind if it's a room, like if he was subletting or anything like that.
Okay.
He only wants it to be extravagant when it's on someone else's bill.
Here's what I'm going to say. Let's say that maybe Janet Winston Rogers is very wealthy, again, between inheriting her father's fortune and inheriting her husband Gerald's fortune. She has a significant amount of money in many investments. Maybe one of her investments is real estate. And so she does perhaps have certain areas across Arkham where she actually is the owner multiple times removed. And is able to make arrangements to put you and your guests up for a short-term stay. So we'll say you can kind of get settled in. That's fine. Okay. What about you, Marie? What is like your first task? Like when you get off the plane, like what do you want to take care of?
I would say Marie, first thing that she does kind of as she's is kind of going back to see if she has a place to stay on Nancy's couch or not. So kind of assessing if she does have a place to rest. And then if she doesn't, she'll kind of be in the same position of kind of trying to find somewhere, because sometimes Nancy's willing to take her in and sometimes Nancy's had enough.
So And does Nancy Nancy doesn't have your cat. You've had your cat the whole time in Bangkok, and we haven't addressed it. So
Yeah, like I brought.
I feel
Claire
like we
with
need to
this
say you don't have.
time,
I feel like your
but-
cat has ran away at this
Ran
point.
away immediately.
Yeah,
It's doing the
like,
Oriental.
It is just doing something else entirely because you
Isn't your
never
cat
use it
your
in
pulp
40
thing?
episodes. Yeah,
Isn't the cat a pulp thing? Like, can't you like do
it's
stuff with it?
exactly. It is. She has a pulp talent for animal companion and never
It's
uses
animal
it.
companion.
It's like a
which
little like
means-
Cthulhu familiar.
Mhm.
That's adorable.
So basically, I have a faithful animal companion, and I gain a bonus die when making animal handling rolls, which just hasn't necessarily come up to do animal handling rolls.
You don't ask to do it if you brought the cat with you and manufactured a situation where you wanted to see if your cat would do something for you, like climb up and go inside and like retrieve something or whatever. Like we could do an animal handling roll. There's like all it is a failure of imagination, as far as I'm concerned.
Although I have to say, Marie would be glad that Clara was living the Oriental life in that hotel and is now the resident cat at the
She's just-
Oriental and did not come into the
Oh, I
mazes
love
and the
that.
labyrinths
So
and
well.
the fighting pits.
They just keep her down in the kitchen with all of like the staff and stuff. It's like the staff pet at this point. Okay.
Her life is much better than it would have been with Marie now.
Amazing.
She's now the mascot for the hotel.
Yeah.
She's got a little cat bed at check-in where you can greet her.
Yeah. Okay, so I did a roll. You head out to Nancy's apartment and you knock once, you knock twice, you knock several times, in fact. Maybe you leave, go down the street, make a call, no answer. Come back again. And it's probably like your 9th or 10th chance of trying to contact her when the door finally cracks open. And you see Nancy like, yeah. Hello? Oh, hey. Hey.
Is everything
You're
okay?
back.
I've been trying to reach you all day.
I was just out late last night. I saw you're back. Oh, I'm so sorry. I lost your cat.
I took Clara with me.
Oh, thank God. I was so worried. That's so strange because I had a cat in here for like 3-4 days while you were gone. I thought it was, it must have been a stray. You can smell booze on her.
Mhm.
Like just like as she speaks, but also on her clothes, you can see that she has this she's got like a silk kind of robe, a very nice robe, but you can tell it's a little disheveled, a stain or two here or there. It's kind of like ill-fitting, and she's like, "Oh God, come in! It's way too cold." Oh, and she like waves you inside.
Thank you. So there was a Clara lookalike that was here after my departure?
I guess, yeah. That explains so many things. She would never come when I called her name. She didn't know how to use the box. And she was so angry all the time. Just always, she like holds up her wrist and there's like cat scratches on it and stuff like that.
My.
Oh, where is little Clara? Where is she?
Well, so she would have been probably better off had I left her here, but I just missed her so terribly, so I thought that I would take her with me. The last I saw her, she was in a very lovely hotel, so I am telling myself that is where she has remained, that
You
she's
left
being
your
very well cared for.
cat in a hotel somewhere?
It's a long story that I don't think I'll probably ever tell you, but I think
Okay.
she's okay. Are you doing?
I told you it was
All
just a
right.
late night. Hey, make yourself at home. And she like you see she like goes over to like the kitchen area and you want something to drink? Celebrate, you're back. Yay. And she could see she's like setting up herself with like a little cocktail.
I think I'm going to. No, you're right. You're right. I should drink all of this away. Yes,
So she
please.
sets you up a little drink, slides it over, and the two of you just start knocking them back like old times. No cat, though. Okay.
I almost forgot that her vice is drinking, so she will absolutely get hammered.
Shyma, what is Shyma's first order of business? You make it back, you step off, your hands still like multiple times throughout the flight. Each of your mouths were like going nuts, and like you've had to like, you know, what do you do? What's the first thing Shyma does when she gets back to Arkham?
So she actually wants to speak to Mr. Kearns, and
Sure.
very specifically, privately, and after everybody has left. So, making sure to have like she kind of hangs back and just kind of dawdles with getting her stuff, so she can have a few minutes without kind of being questioned to speak to Mr. Kearns.
Okay.
And she kind of goes up to him like quite sheepishly with her back. Mr. Kearns, I know you probably
Shyma,
wanna
call
lick
me
it, but do
Frank.
you have
Come on. Frank, it's Frank. You don't gotta call me Mr. Kearns.
Okay. Frank, I know you probably want to go home, but do you have a few minutes?
Sure. I just just got to get everything shut down here, and yeah.
Oh, I
and
can
off I go.
help you. I can help you do that. But
You sure you don't want to go see like your dad or something?
that's actually kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. So I and she kind of holds up the hand, and again it's wrapped, but it's very
That's
clear
right.
mouth. There's like
I forgot. I'm so
through-
sorry.
I can't really go back to my dorm, and I can't really go home. Do you think I could stay at the hangar? And she reaches into the bag and pulls out a fairly tragic-looking envelope, and it's like, I've been saving some money for Dr. Key, and I have about $37. So if you could maybe help me buy some supplies, I don't have to bother you. I don't have to bother my storages. I just need somewhere to stay for a little while.
And you see like his face just like it just sort of softens as he feels like so bad, and he's like, "Oh, Shyma,
no, it's okay if you could just buy me some bread and some butter and some athletic tapes. That you know, I have some books I have to go through, and it's
okay. You can stay. It's fine. It's okay. Walter used to stay here. There's an office back there. I think the cot's still around here somewhere, but you're gonna have to like dust it off. I don't know if anyone's given it a clean in a while, but it gets cold
okay,
here.
I can do that. I can.
It's really cold.
Can do all that.
All right.
Can I just use the blanket and the pillow from the plane? Is that okay?
You can use the blankets, but it gets cold. I think. Oh, jeez. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go get you a few things. We gotta make this. I don't want you freezing to death out here.
Money over to him.
Jeez. Kid, just you keep your money. Give it to Dr. Key. Save for a.
There's definitely some shoe dollars in there.
Yeah. Oh goodness. Listen. What we'll do is we'll write it off. Right, we'll just write it off. It's fine. Don't worry about it. All right, I'm gonna go get you some. Things.
Okay,
We'll get you set up here. It gets very cold here, so again, you want to bundle up real good. If you burn anything, open one of the windows up top. There's a pole over there, and he kind of points over there, and that lets you open up one of them skylight windows. But don't leave it open when it's snowing, or else it'll just plumb right down in here.
No, of course. Thank you, Frank.
You want me to let your dad know? You want me to get him out here?
I don't know what I want to tell him yet, so maybe not.
Okay.
But maybe you could mail this for me? And she pulls out a package from her bag, and it's the 3 books for Dr. Lanfear that they picked up from Audrey. Could you mail this for? And there's a note that Dr. Lanfear, I'm so sorry I wasn't able to give this to you in person, but I didn't want to delay getting this to you because I'm quite sick or something.
Sure.
Vague like that.
Okay. Yeah. I could take care of this. You sure you're gonna be okay out here?
I'm gonna be fine now. I'm
quiet.
gonna be fine. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And he like goes to leave, and he turns around. And he's like, some weird noises sometimes around here. So maybe play a little music just to drown it out. Otherwise, your head'll go crazy out here. Okay. All right. I'll be back as soon as I can, kid. And he leaves. He kind of pulls the door shut at that point, and you are alone in this hangar with an airplane, a small cot. You're able to find the cot and kind of leave you as you're kind of making steps to make it kind of more homely. And we cut over to Dr. Key. Bev, what's the first thing you do?
First order of business is she heads home and she checks her built-up mail from her. She actually has to stop by the post office because she did have notifications that she was out on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And had her mail diverted here, and so she'll pick up all her mail.
Okay.
And she's looking for a response from Ed Exley and an update on her upcoming trial.
You find
in that order is the importance.
Yeah. A couple things. First, nothing from Ed. So there's no response from Ed. You do see, however, a note, an envelope with a Los Angeles address on. And when you open it up, it doesn't have a name attached to it. It just has yours, obviously, but there's just like a little address kind of, it's Los Angeles stamp and everything. And you open it up and you see it's like an LA Times article. And you see the headline, UCLA professor is committed after nearly burning down her lab. And when you start reading through it, you realize it's about Dr. Elizabeth Grandley, the biochemist at UCLA. The two of you started studying the nectar sample, and you see that there's like there's not like a picture of her or anything like that, but you can see like it's kind of a 2-column thing. Just kind of goes through it. It kind of lists some of her accolades and stuff, and how apparently like she somehow set like one of the labs on fire or something got destroyed. Like it's kind of very murky. You can tell they're writing in a way not to like make her look too bad, but she seems to have been committed to an asylum in Los Angeles, or a mental hospital, I should say.
And there's no return address or anything on this? All it is like an LA stamp. You don't know who it came from. It doesn't look, you would know Ed Exley's address by this point. It's not there. It's just an envelope sent to you. That's concerning. Okay.
The second thing you find in the mail of note is you find a summons from Miskatonic University. It has the official sigil on it, and you can see it is in an official sign by the president. I think it's Dr. David Edmond at this point, and by several of the trustees of Miskatonic, with a date. And apparently your trial has been moved up, or your hearing has been moved up, and you kind of look at the date and you realize it's like January 17th, and you're like looking at the calendar, it's like January 15th. It's like literally in 2 days.
Okay.
And you have other basic stuff, but those are the two things that probably stand out more than anything else.
Yeah, then she'll make sure that her next point of business would be to reach out to her solicitor, who's going to be representing her in this, and all of that. Yeah,
it's not a court case. It's essentially like I don't want to get into the weeds of this, but like you're a tenured professor. They can't just fire you. There are processes for doing so.
Oh, it's like the
So-
military kind of like stuff where you get pulled to their kind of court first before any
It's not a
decisions are
court.
made?
I wouldn't call it a court. It's
Got it, okay.
it's basically an academic review hearing.
Got it,
Essentially,
okay.
it's going to be.
More of
They
like
have
a
to show
panel.
cause
Got it.
of a certain kind to sort of just get rid of your tenure. Essentially, what it is.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. All right. So that's what you've got. Now, can you remind me? I think you got like a storage facility for like the various books and things that you got. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're in
Or
a
is it,
lockbox at yeah.
Well, I think.
Or no,
they're
I
in
think
a-
we had to upgrade to a storage facility.
I think you might have gotten we have to go back and listen. I think you might have gotten like a social security box, but a social security box isn't going to hold the entirety of the books that you collected from Trammell and from the UCLA. Like those, like there are literally dozens. So, but if there was like one or two like high profile books that you wanted to keep in there, you probably could. But otherwise, I think you got a storage facility or a safe or something like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah, I
sure
think
there's
it
a
was-
facility at a bank where the books are being kept.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure what specifically that is, but I do know that it's at a bank.
Yeah, but a social security box is what it would be. But a social security box isn't big enough to hold like 36
Got
books,
it, got
probably.
it.
Big tomes,
Interesting.
big
Yeah,
thick
no,
tomes,
no.
some of which are
Yeah.
literally bigger than the social security box. But I'm fine. I mean, I'm fine to say you got like I know you stored them. Like I know you stored them, but okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And then you just return home at that point?
Yeah, if there's time, like she does what needs to be done to like, because she's in a big change right now. So when she goes into this
You're
hearing,
blonde.
she doesn't want to show up blonde,
What?
and bruised and all of that nonsense.
Mhm.
So she does schedule appointments to
Okay.
get herself sorted and
If
looking.
only you had a barber friend who was good at these types of things.
He did
might
say
have
he
a-
doesn't do women's hair. Specifically. I do recall that.
Sexist,
Okay.
Mr. Prices.
I'll give you a great comb over.
My partner.
Okay.
Fix you up.
Oh, your
Okay.
partner does women's hair. Yeah. Then you know.
All right. So Bev, you go about getting your stuff situated. Okay. Patrick, then what is the first thing you do essentially as you get back to Bangkok?
As I leave the group, I'll let everyone know if you need anything, learn anything. Just contact PP Barber. And then I'll head to my shop.
Okay.
And before heading to the shop, maybe I'll look for a store, try to buy some belts in bulk because I've got a new friend.
Okay. We'll say you manage to get you can buy belts in bulk. That's not an issue. PP Barber, that's what it's called. PP Barber. Okay. It is probably afternoon by the time you get to your shop. Definitely snow. Not to the point where it's impossible to travel, but it certainly makes travel a little bit difficult. The biting cold of Arkham and the snow and the ice compared to where you just left is quite noticeable. You can see that the shop is open, so Peter has been keeping it open. And you can tell that the sidewalk and everything has been shoveled. You can see like the spinning red and white like a sconce thing on the outside. And as the door opens, you can see frost is built up on it, the glass door, like you hear a ding. And when you look inside, you can see like the back of a barber, you presume Peter, and he's just kind of going to town on somebody who is in a chair. And you hear, yeah, 1 second, guy, I'll get you to you in a second. And as he holds up his hand, you can see the hand is covered in blood. And you can see that in his hand is a set of scissors. 1 second. You just have a seat. And you just hear this cackling. And as they turn back around and you just hear the snips, you hear, and you peek around and you can see there is Peter, your partner. He is basically bound to the barber chair You can see his fingers have been like snipped and have fallen to the ground the way hair might have fallen to the ground. You can see like there's cuts and rivulets in his face as well where he's just bleeding. And this guy's like, just a little off the top. What do you do, Patrick?
What's the meaning of this, Peter?
No, sorry, ain't no Peter here. Well, if he is, you can't really recognize him anymore.
I'll charge the laughing guy.
And you charge the laughing guy. Give me a brawl test.
Oh no.
What the I spend the 1 luck to pass. I roll 60.
Okay, and you tackle him. You slide across the ground. And you slam against you slam like as you slide across like the tile floor. You kind of slam into one of the cabinets and like you can feel him. Get off! What the hell's wrong with you?
What's the big idea? What is this?
What the fuck? And as you look down, you can see there's Peter looking up at you with like this terrified look in his face. What do you mean? What's the big idea? What the fuck are you doing? Why are you tackling me? Patrick, what the hell's wrong with you? Snap out of it, man.
Peter?
Who do you think it's gonna be, man? We got a customer. What the hell's wrong with you?
Help him up.
And as you help him up, you see that he's got shears in his hand. There's some on the ground, comb, etc. There is hair on the ground. There is a man who looks extraordinarily terrified and confused sitting in the chair. And he's just kind of looking at you and he's like, yeah, I don't want any trouble, guy. I want no trouble. I just want a haircut. You know, that's all I wanted.
Of course. Sorry. Peter, continue on and I'll leave him.
Okay. Give me a sand roll, by the way.
Good gosh.
93, that is a fail.
That is a fail. That is indeed all that hard work you did. It's only one. You're good. One sand loss. As you step back, you see like Peter's like dust himself off and like goes up to the client like, I'm so very sorry. He was overseas for a bit. His fiance just broke up with them. It's been a really bad time and he got attacked and he's been having some trouble. And no, it's fine. I can come back later. It's okay. Like you and your friend. And his hair is like half cut, so like you can see one side's uneven and the other is like I'll be fine. Peter's just like no, on the house, and he just kind of starts clipping away at that point. And as you just watch, Peter is like hand shaking, going through and cutting the guy's hair. Okay. Poor guy. All right.
Indeed.
You all returned to Bangkok. God, I keep doing that. You all returned to Arkham.
Yeah, if you're not getting us back there, we're never going back.
Secretly still
From
there.
Bangkok.
You guys never left. There are 4 lights. Okay. So we're back in Bangkok. You've made your first returns. At some point, obviously, you're going to have a meeting with Janet. But just like anything else, just like we've done before, this is sort of a loose bit of downtime for you all to do whatever it is you want to do, for me to completely screw with you, and we kind of go from there. So I don't really necessarily care, like in terms of trying to get to a precise timeline. Assuming you guys are probably going to be resting. Some of you are dealing with indefinite insanity, Patrick and Shyma. So just a reminder that indefinite insanity is really rough. So Patrick, you've been dealing with it for a little while. It led specifically to the loss of your engagement, as the last time around when you tried to spend time with her, it went really bad. I think you fumbled and she left. Anna did. So basically, let's do some investigator development phases, get some bookkeeping done first. All of the skills that you all have been checking so far through Bangkok, let's go ahead and do those rolls now. The ones that are lit up in yellow. Remember, you're looking to just basically roll that skill. You want to fail, so you want to roll above whatever your current score is. Sanity obviously doesn't count, but... Oh, there you go. And if you fail, so we can go ahead and do our upgrade. So it looks like Marie, you're getting charm increased.
It's been a while since we've done this.
I have an 80 and I rolled an 85.
Okay.
So what do I get for the increase?
All right. So so basically you go through every one of the skills that lit up on your character sheet. And so these are skills that you succeeded on during Bangkok without using luck and without using audience assistance. If you used either of those things, you don't get to check it. So then you roll a check now with it and you want to fail. So you want to go above your total. So for instance, Marie has an 80 in charm. She rolled 85, which now means she can now increase it. You increase it by a D10. So you want to fail right now. So just calling it out. Looks like so Marie's going to increase charm. Bev is going to increase dodge. It's good. Dodge a very good one to increase. Patrick is also going to increase dodge. Will, you're going to increase your climb. Look at you, buddy. Look at you.
I passed all the other ones.
Did you? It looks like Shyma's now. Maitreyi is finally starting to pass some rolls, but this is the time when you don't want to.
I know.
Goodness.
I passed every single
did.
roll. I made
Will-
like 10 rolls and I passed all of them.
Crazy. Bev rolled a
Climb
99.
and dodge for me.
Okay, so Will's going to get some dodge, and Bev's also going to get some brawl.
So I was waiting for the rolls to go, so now I'm starting to
No,
roll mine.
I'm just calling them out as I see them. Bev, you're going to get a jump. Marie, you're going to increase listen.
Jump.
Rolled a 1. My listen is going up by 1.
High
Okay.
increase.
Okay. That's right, because you did roll a check at one point with it.
Yep.
And then Patrick is going to go up with first aid. Poor Shyma. Bangkok was really rough on Shyma. Oh, goodness.
It was. No
Most
increase on
Bangkok
my
is not starting off that much better.
Hey, you got a place to stay. It's good.
That's true. That's
Bev,
true.
psychology is going to go up.
Nice.
Patrick, you're also going to get some
$37.
time.
I'm basically
See?
flush. I'm pretty sure it's what a millionaire feels like.
You get you're living with you're right next to your own personal plane. You could take that thing out for a spin anytime you want. Let's see, Patrick, you got Ty. Marie got psychology. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Anybody still have their skill rolls to make?
Yeah, we got a
All
bunch.
set.
But
You
no.
do. Okay. All right. I'm only calling out when they fail. They're rolling other
Yeah,
ones, but they're just on.
Passing. I only had like 4 to do and I passed 2, failed 2.
Psychoanalysis is going up for Patrick. Very nice.
Nice.
All
See,
right.
Long doesn't use
Bev's
audience
crushing
space as
it.
much, so he gets to do a lot of rolls here.
That's true. Long plays it pretty raw.
Yeah, but I'm passing everything.
You are. You are. Bev, what did you get that D10 in? This is how you
For
rolled a 10 on
jump.
something.
So I can.
Boy,
I
get
my
the
jump's
ups.
30 now.
How does Will, by the way, increase his climb when he has no calf muscle in one of his legs now?
I got 10.
Terrifying.
10 more points in climb.
It's the upper body strength. You don't climb
That's
with
what it
legs.
is, yeah.
It's
I
purely
was
your
off
arms.
my leg for so long that, yeah.
Okay. Very nice. All right. Any more? Anyone else doing
I
some
think
rolls?
my last one for stealth.
Okay.
I passed.
God dang it. Oh my gosh, Maitreyi. Not fair. Not fair.
So something
Okay.
happens when you hit 90, right?
If you hit 90 in a skill, you do in fact get,
Okay.
I think
I
it's
didn't.
2d6
I was just
sand.
asking.
Yeah, if you ever reach 90 plus
Ooh.
in a single skill, you get to regain 2d6 sand as your, like the idea of specialization and becoming an expert in something is calming on the mind.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
My charm went from 81 to 83, so I'm
Very
getting
nice.
closer with charm, and singing's pretty close too.
I still remember when I
nice.
played my PI in Massey Nyarlathotep over on Garblag,
Mhm.
and I got I think I got over 100 at one point. I got to
Oh, wow.
102 for spot hidden. It was insane.
That sounds
I felt-
ridiculous.
yeah, it's absolutely insane. I just got so lucky on rolls. I like back to back weeks. I got or back to back times we rolled. I rolled in the 90s for the check, and then I rolled like a 10 on my increase. So I was
Wow.
It was
Wow.
crazy, dude. Okay.
You see all.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. Okay, I think we're good. Got the business out of the way. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, did
So
everybody get to do a final tie roll for like the last night that we were in Bangkok?
You know, that's a good idea. We should have done that. We should have done one more. So
Oh, I
everyone, you go
didn't
ahead.
do that. Can you?
That's our own
remind
little
me?
personal rule. Go your intelligence.
Intelligence.
If you pass, you get to increase a little bit. And yeah.
So extreme success, you gain 6.
60.
Success is a 1d6. Failure is a 1d3.
Yeah.
A critical
What
success
about-
is a d6.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
What did you roll, Bev?
I rolled just a hard success, so I just get
That's
a
just
D3.
that's a 1d6. That's 1d6.
Oh, sorry.
The only thing that kind of increases is if you get a crit, and then I just give you like the max on the d6 roll. So okay.
So it's like
If you
literally
critically
rolling a
fail,
1.
you don't get anything because you're dumb. So it says in the rule right there.
I was just
For
reading
myself.
that in the primer.
Wrote them myself. Okay.
My tie's up to 18 now.
Ooh.
like it. And you're never going back to Bangkok again. But you'll be able to communicate better with Ravi
Yeah.
and with Ankana.
Yeah,
And with
Assuming-
my
I was
fellow
thinking.
Professor Fali,
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right.
if
We could
I get
Yeah.
to stay.
fellow professor. That's interesting. Interesting you put it that way. Interesting.
as
Okay.
I quietly say,
Your
if I still
former
keep my
colleague.
tenure.
Mhm.
Doesn't it increase like if I reach 20 in a language, like it makes me proficient in like reading, or was that?
So
a
again, this is all just
restriction?
this is just our personal rule. So if you're listening to this and you're wondering what the hell we're talking about, this is just our homebrew of it. Once you get to 20%, you're basically equipped to verbally communicate in most situations and read texts that aren't particularly complex. So like if it's an
Nice.
academic text, you wouldn't be able to do it. But if it's just
Oh,
sort of
yeah.
like some basic guidebook or a magazine or something like that, you would be able to read it.
Mhm. Nice,
Newspaper,
cool.
maybe. Okay. All right. Everyone good? You ready to get back to a couple more scenes and then we'll call it a night? So,
yeah.
so you guys are going to be in Arkham for a little while, I'm presuming, while you all are recovering. For those of you that are dealing with indefinite insanity, so we're going to start with Shyma and Patrick. Are you two doing anything to try to address it? Now, there are basically 3 ways to potentially get rid of indefinite insanity. So one of them is to get some treatment. And there's 2 different kinds of treatment: private care or institutionalization. Private care is more expensive. There is a doctor, Patrick, that you had seen that Janet connected you to, Dr. Mulig in Arkham. So he is an option. Institutionalization is cheaper, but it's also potentially harmful because at this time in the history, like mental health hospitals were at the greatest. So if you're looking for treatment, those are the potential ways of getting rid of indefinite insanity. The other potential way to get rid of indefinite insanity is self-help. So that means during your phase, and this is what you did last time, Patrick, you can spend time with one entry listed in your backstory, which could act as some form of psychological support, go into detail about what you're doing for redemption or healing, and the actions should be somehow thematically appropriate to your backstory. And then you make a sand roll as the scene comes to a head. If successful, you can potentially gain some sand back. But if you want to get rid of your indefinite insanity, it has to be your key connection. So, Patrick, you had picked Anna last time, but unfortunately, it went really bad. So your key connection. So I think Shyma would be your dad. Would be Reg?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if that's the route you wanted to take, you would need to do it. Patrick, do you even have a key connection
No,
anymore?
I lost it, so
Yeah.
I don't think I have one. Or is it replaced?
had-
I'm not sure.
You can replace it. You just have to kind of like in the narrative, however you would want to see it, like trying to make a new connection. Would it be Peter, kind of thing? Is he's the next person, like your closest friend or whatever? Would it be Janet? I don't know. But that's something for you to kind of figure out. So do either of you want to do anything with treatment?
Yeah, I have that connection with Dr. Mulig, so I just go
Yeah.
back to him.
Okay.
Sure,
So-
does not.
So you want to get connected with the doctor, or I didn't quite hear you, Maitreyi. I'm sorry. The
Oh, I'm
music
sorry.
spiked.
I was just saying that Shyma does not do treatment. She's too fucked with like the hand and not
Sure.
having money and all this stuff. Like,
Okay.
so it's just gonna go
Okay.
the self-help route.
Okay, perfect. So let's start. Well, and this is all happening over the course of a month. Remember, it's a month of treatment, so we'll just play a little bit of it. So as you go and see Dr. Mulig, he is probably in his 60s or so, light German accent. He's got like salt and pepper hair, big glasses, big old mustache. You make an appointment. Maybe Janet makes your appointment. How are you walking into this place and trying to mute and hide your issue? What does it look like when Patrick walks into this office?
I've got my arm belted up as best I can. There's like heavy coats, heavy wear, trying to keep it muffled.
Oh, Mr. Price, I see you all seem to be injured. Is there what is did something happen to your arm? What is this?
Recent travels have left me worse for wear.
Travel can be very good for the soul, for the mind. Where did you go?
Over to Thailand. You've ever been?
Oh, I have not. That is fascinating. Was you there for pleasure or for business?
For business, and
I
hate to say, Doc, those visions I've been having, I think they've becoming more real.
Oh, that is a pity. I was very saddened that you did not come for treatment during the holidays. I tried to reach out, and you did not respond to my office's calls. Tell me, what is it you are seeing in these visions?
It's that mouth I've been telling you about. Seen the walls, still seeing them.
I see. But you know that they are not real, yes? Mouths do not spontaneously grow on places where they should not, yes? Yeah?
It's hard to agree with that one.
It's hard to agree. Oh, that is why is it hard to agree? And he starts writing a note down.
I think I've seen them in places they shouldn't be.
Oh, that's very interesting. Perhaps we should look at the places in which you are seeing them. Perhaps where you are seeing them might reveal something. Where is it that you see them?
Everywhere I go. I've been to LA, in Mexico.
That is very interesting. You have traveled quite often for business, you say?
Yeah, it takes me places.
What is your business? If my Miss Winston Rogers did not tell me.
I'm a barber.
I am sorry. You are a barber.
I cut hair.
And this is a industry that requires travel.
When you become renowned, your clients are come over all over the world.
He lets out a sigh. He puts his pen down. Mr. Price, if you truly wish to be well, and if you wish to be rid of these visions, you must be honest with me. You cannot lie. If you lie in here, this is a very safe space. We're trying to find the root of your issues.
No, you're right. This business Janet has me on.
Janet? Oh, you call her first name basis? I see. Tell me about Janet. Why is it you are working for her? She is sending you this there and that where?
I'm sure you know her father.
Well, yes, I'm very aware of Mr. Winston, but he has been deceased now for some time. Were you familiar with him?
I was. Was his barber, like I was saying.
Yes, and he makes a note. So, why is it that you feel compelled to help his daughter?
It's more for Winston. Walter, I should say.
Did Mr. Winston, did he help you in some way?
He treated me well, almost like a son.
And let us investigate that further. Almost like a son. Do you not have a father?
Oh, I do, but it's he's been on his own, I guess. Well, I've been on my own.
He abandoned you, or
no? I
you
haven't seen him in a while. I kind of just left on a whim.
I see. Perhaps it is a an abandonment issue. First your father, then Mr. Winston passed away. Tell me, how was your engagement? Have you how was your fiance faring with all the travel?
I'm afraid to say I left her on the holidays.
She left. Do you mean the engagement has been broken off?
We had a falling out.
Oh, what was it over?
Oh, I almost forgot, but disagreement. Wasn't there for traveling all the time.
Well, Mr. Price, we have many more sessions to continue, but that you have forgotten the reason why the one you were promised to and loved, and you have forgotten the very reason why your engagement is no longer on. That is very interesting. Do you think?
Do I think?
Yes. Do you think that perhaps you how do I say this? Were you not in love with your fiancée?
It certainly was. She was the best thing that happened to me ever.
But yet, she left. And you then went to Thailand for Miss Winston Rogers. And you've forgotten the very reason why you and your fiancé were in disagreement.
It's my mind, Doc. Something happening.
We have much work to do. So we'll say we kind of fade out of that scene and we just see this montage of different meetings as you kind of come, because it is it's a kind of a month-long affair. So let's do a little roll. I could literally do that conversation probably for another 45 minutes, just randomly asking Patrick questions.
That's 45 minutes.
Eventually, I remember how to do a German accent. I was not quite there. I was not very happy. Dr. Friend, you guys remember Dr. Friend from? Dr. Friend.
Yep.
Oh, you're so good. That's from our Impossible Landscapes campaign. All right, so. Okay, so that's private care. So let's see. So we start with a D100 roll
first.
So give me a D100 there, Long. Let me know what you get.
Okay. A 56.
Okay, so 56 is a success. You can add 1d3 sand. Just go ahead and add that.
A 1.
Okay. Then you get to roll a sand test. If the roll is successful, you are cured of your insanity. And if the roll is unsuccessful, then another attempt may be made in a month's time.
Oh, please. Please
I
cure
put in
me.
chat, we just need to stay here until you succeed at this.
Yes, 15.
There it is. 15 under 39.
Dice luck.
Attaboy.
You
Congratulations.
are on freaking fire with your rolls lately. Insane. 15 out of 39. Okay. So go ahead and you can uncheck indefinite. And we'll say that over the course of the month of your sessions with Dr. Mulig, you managed to finally overcome. What do you think it is he says to you that finally gets to kind of click, or that kind of reshapes the way that you look at it? What do you think it is?
I'm trying to remember what made me insane in the first place. Oh yeah, it was the mouths in LA.
It was the mouth.
Yeah.
The very thing that's growing on your right now.
There's something at the end of it that it's not going to be like this forever. There's a way out. Yeah.
Yes. With dedication, you will get better. Mental health is not the same as physical health. Mental health takes time and dedication. You must tend to these things. Mindfulness. Focus on what is important to you in your life. Ensure that you protect it. Ensure that you nurture it. And if you do, then it will nurture you in return, and your mind will be at ease. And so, you get up, You have like a handshake with him. And as you do, you hear, what was that?
I've been hungry from all these sessions.
Of course. Well, there is a wonderful schnitzel restaurant. Just if you just kind of gives you a direction. And we'll say we close out of that scene. I love Dr. Bulik. I want to make you all insane so I can keep playing Dr. Bulik.
So good.
Let's check in with Shyma then. Shyma, you got business again, and I want to focus on the fact. I want to stress, like, we're doing this stuff could be out of order, right? So let's not worry too much about like the time in which you're here. This could be a little bit out of order. So Shyma, you said you wanted to do some self-help. So in order for you to cure your insanity, that does mean that you would need to be doing some self-help with Reg, with your dad.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Not good.
Yeah.
and
Definitely is pretty crippling though, because it's like any sanity loss, bout of madness. There you go.
Yeah. So
okay.
I'm no, I was thinking about how to game the system a little, but it feels so cheesy. So I'll just suck it up and try to go see my dad.
Okay. So you go see him at your home? Like you actually go visit him finally?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you say you wait a while, or would you say this is one of the first
I
things?
do, just to like let everything settle down on my face a little, and because the fewer explanations she has to make, the better. So,
Sure.
She tries to. I think she waits a few days.
Okay. So
And then
we'll say
she goes home.
you show up, you see him. You can tell when he opens the door that he is like, the last time you saw him, he was having terrible nightmares. He wasn't sleeping well. The two of you had a falling out on the steps in Miskatonic outside the library. And then you left without really telling him, if you recall. So when he opens the door, there is this mix of like joy in seeing you and relief in seeing you, but also like, where have you been, Shyma? Like, where I have been so worried. Where have you been?
She starts to go in for a hug and then remembers and doesn't.
You cannot hug your father?
Puts it behind. I'm really sorry. I missed you. Are you okay?
What is wrong with you? Look at
Where's
you.
Mama?
What has
Is
happened
she
to you?
okay? I'm fine. I'm fine. But is Ma here? Is she okay?
Shyma, are you okay? Your mother?
I'm a little underslept, but that's all.
Oh,
Everyone's
Shyma.
underslept, right? I mean, you were underslept.
Yes, but your mother is gone, Shyma.
Gone, like, to the store. I mean,
No.
I wanted to come in. I could just wait for her.
Come in. And he kind of like motions you in. You can see his face goes from like anger to just like utter like sadness. Like his like face just like
She
drops.
shoves her hand behind her even more.
And so he tries to like pull you in, like, but if you recoil a bit, he's like,
She
just
does.
come inside.
She
It is
does.
cold out. Go inside. We see like the scene. We see like maybe we see like your like living room, and maybe there's like a photograph, like this almost sepia tone kind of like photograph on the wall of like your mother, and maybe some other like of her things kind of set up off to the side. It's been there this whole time. But he looks at you and he's just, why are you asking about your mother?
And she looks down and rubs the back of her neck, but her father knows is the Shyma symbol for being very uncomfortable with something. I thought she was really upset with me for some work I was doing. And
And I just want to make sure she's okay. I want to make sure you're okay.
She was very proud of the work you had. She was so happy when you were accepted into Miskatonic. She was never sad with you. No, mothers and daughters fight. It is not.
No, but and she's obviously trying to get a question out that she can't.
And he's like
quite
reaching
form.
out and like looking at your head. Like, what has happened? You have
No,
wounds?
I'm fine.
You bang your head?
I'm fine. What happened? What?
Shyma, your mother has been dead for years. What are you talking about? Shyma.
She stops and can I make some kind of roll to see if I remember?
Absolutely.
anything?
We'll call this like a reality check. Absolutely. So it's a sand test, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's essentially, do you believe him?
Yeah.
If you pass, you do. If you fail, then you role play why you don't believe him.
Yeah.
78. Why would we think that Maitreyi would pass a roll? that she wants to pass, right?
No.
So he's just like looking at you. She has been dead for
No,
years.
no, she hasn't.
Shyma.
She was mad at me just 2 days, like a week ago.
No, she was not.
Yes.
She was not mad at you a week
Yes,
ago. She has
she
been
was,
dead
Bob.
for years.
No.
Shyma, I think I know if my wife is dead. She has been dead. I have been sleeping in the bed by myself for years. I would know. And he gets like, he's almost kind of like angry, but like in that very sad kind of angry.
Don't you think I would know if my mother was dead?
Well, I don't know. You were never here. You're off gallivanting with that professor of yours. She has been putting things in your mind, is what she has been doing. I have heard reports. The university, they have questions about her too. She has been poisoning you.
She has. And Shyma kind of looks down, like really kind of confused and slightly angry, and like, wait, what?
He gets up, Shyma,
So
and he goes
she's
over.
not here. She's not here.
And he like goes over to like a desk or something. He pulls a drawer out, and you see he like reaches in and he takes out like some little like a leather folio and unwraps it, and he like places in front of you like very gently these clippings of like a newspaper that is an obituary for your mother, where it kind of describes who she is, like the illness that she was dealing with, or whatever, however it is that you think she passed. But you just see it in front, and like you can see a little like photograph of like her and your father, like at some point, maybe like a celebration, maybe a wedding, maybe like Diwali, some other some sort of holiday or whatever. And he just sits it in front of you. You have been working too hard. You are, Shyma. This is not good. You come here after I haven't seen you. You disappear. You travel the world with some crazy lady with her theories, and you return and you look like you have been run over by a tractor. And you won't even hug your father.
It's just a fight, bud. It's just a fight. You know how.
No, it is not just a fight. You look. Look at you. And he like kind of like points to maybe like a reflection in the mirror. Look, you are pale. And like you look over and like compare it to the two of you. Like you probably look at your father somewhat, right? Like your blood still hasn't kind of quite gotten back up, right? You got scars on your body here and there. And he's just, oh, my daughter. That is it. You are moving back here. You are moving. And he's like,
but I
there is room. I will clean out your room. You can stay here.
No, I cannot. Please don't do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up these dice and do a little quick roll. And it's at that point there's a kind of muffled sound coming from like where you have tucked your hand. What is that?
I need to go. And she doors
no.
and bolts. And she bolts.
And so you race and he's like shouting after you,
Yeah.
Shyma! And the door like kind of slams behind it. And you just kind of keep racing. And maybe he even steps out onto the stoop, like the ice slips a little bit, calls after you, and you hear like behind you like the thump as he falls down. Oh! It's like a old man.
Sorry, she yells over her shoulder. I love you. I'm sorry. And she keeps going.
Okay. We'll fade out of that. We can come back. We've got the time to maybe do another one, either this session or next session, but we'll fade out of that. That was awesome. That was a really fun scene. Okay. Then let's go over who do we want to check in. So those are our sanity people. So in terms of like other business to attend to, if any of you that just are like, even if you don't have like indefinite insanity, you could still seek psychotherapy to potentially try to get some sand back. So that's still a possibility. Otherwise, you could do like self-help and try to get some sand back. Like there's things that you could potentially do. It's not as robust of a downtime, obviously, as like we're used to with Delta Green, but there's things you could potentially do mechanically, but there's also things you could just do narratively. So we've touched in with Patrick, we've touched in with Shyma. Let's go back around Will. What do you think Will's up to?
Can you remind me what month it is? Like, I know we're in winter.
January. It is middle of January when you guys return. So around the 15th or so.
Will, I think I'd like to try and like build a key background connection mechanically. And I'm thinking that he's restless being in Arkham without anything to do. It's a very mundane place compared to the locales that he spends time in. But he also knows that he needs to, recover because he's been through the ringer. So he probably would like latch on to Ravi and Ankana a lot, just for like, because they're not American, regular doldrum type thing. So I think there would be at one point where he would, he's probably shown up at their apartment a couple times just to check in on them, say hello, that kind of thing. And then one day, middle of January, he would show up with like a ham that's like cooked and just like in like a parcel full of like presents and just say, well, we missed Christmas and you are in America now and I felt like you should experience the tradition. So I brought a ham and he would just kind of like make himself at home. In a weird way. And give them like some random ass presents, like the it's just
God, I love
American junk, but yeah.
Okay.
That's what I made for Christmas. I'm so happy.
This is amazing. You show up one day. They're like Ankana will answer the door. Anytime you come over, Ravi has always been like sitting on like a rocking chair, like looking out a window. Like that's and you know that she can't really see, but she's just sort of sitting there. Maybe music they're sometimes playing every now and then, and you can see Ankana is there, and like there's like books that maybe she has, not like super academic one, but you can see that she's like studying, and there's like newspapers. You could tell they don't get out much, like so for obvious reasons. And when you come in, like Ankana is like taken aback by it. Her leg starts to twitch and salivate as like the ham scent comes down. And she says, like, and I think you two can speak pretty easily because you can speak French pretty fluently, I think.
Yeah,
right?
I've got a 21 in French.
So the two of you are like have no issues whatsoever. And she's Mr. Sawyer, that is very, very kind. Come in. And then she like, as she usually does, she like keeps a wide berth and her leg kind of extended off and away. And you bring in this food and you have random presents, but we didn't get anything for you though. Don't we exchange?
Well, no, it's
right?
a surprise Christmas, so of course, it's really just about the shared time together. I really just wanted to make a ham, and I think I might have ruined it. It looks pretty dry, but we'll see. You know, I might make some gravy if you don't mind. And don't mind me. I know where the kitchen is, and I head over to their stove and just start pulling out some pots and pans.
Okay.
Completely just helping myself to everything in their kitchen to try and make some gravy for the ham.
Okay. What kind of presents do you get them? Like, what is it? What did you get them?
I feel like Will would have no idea what to actually buy them. So he would just go into like a department store and probably just like, okay, that seems like a nice dress that's about their size. Probably got the size wrong. There's a nice pair of shoes, you know, so just like random things like that. Just whatever they have in the window.
Okay, so you just buy, like, you go into like some kind of like Macy's kind of department store or whatever it is, and you just buy like random stuff, and like Ankana like holds open the dress, and she's like,
Size
at first she looks
shoes.
at it, she's like, oh, this is beautiful, and then she like holds it up to her, but you notice like the hem of the dress doesn't go far enough necessarily to like fully cover, and like her face kind of falls at that point. I'm sure Ravi will love it. And so like she'll walk it over, and then she kind of goes with the shoes at that point. So
sorry, fashion's not really my thing. Neither is cooking, as you can tell. But
and she's like eating.
No, we can take it back.
It's quite taste tender. You didn't. Is this your first time cooking a ham?
Yeah. Yes. I think I did it right. I put it in the oven. I asked the clerk how long I should put it in for. And he didn't seem like he cooks much ham either. But you know, it doesn't seem crispy, and that's the important thing. And American ham is supposed to be dry. I don't know how it is in Bangkok, but around here, you know, we put gravy on everything.
Well, we didn't eat pork very often, but when we did, it was usually moist, but we put oil, and it was usually in a bowl with other things like vegetables. And she like looks at just, it's like a giant, all you did is bring like a big old thing of meat over. Vegetables and other things. You did a wonderful job. You did. She's backpedaling now, and you could tell she's trying to be very polite. It's like she's touched. Like, no doubt she's touched, but no doubt your ham tastes like shit. Like, no doubt those two things are true. No, you did a wonderful. And then you hear from the corner where Ravi is looking out the window, just some like. And you look over, and she's pulling like the chunks of the meat out, and then. It's a little gamey. And then she puts it back in her mouth.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll be honest. This is actually my first Christmas in America in about 9 years. So I'm a little out of practice myself.
This is my first Christmas in America at all. So you're doing great.
Thank you.
Why were you gone for so long?
Oh, I joined the Legion, French Foreign Legion.
On her eyes, there was a man in the sewers who wore French Foreign Legion uniform. Very strange man. They called him Souk.
Souk. I don't know a Souk. But you know, it was a big legion. There were a whole legion of us.
I did not think that.
Sorry,
you
I wasn't
each
trying
other.
to bring up bad memories.
And she like looks down at her leg. It is hard to forget. She looks down at her leg, which is literally drooling onto the floor. And every now and then it's just like.
I understand. Maybe we could fashion some sort of brace for you. Like if we could get a metal plate that was molded for your calf. It might make it a little bit easier at times.
And she thinks that would help for a while, but it migrates. It started, and she like points to her hamstring. It started here and then moved when I covered it too well.
Oh, I hadn't realized. Well, if it's on your calf now, we could make a brace to help temporarily, and if it moves down to your foot, eventually it'll migrate back up, right? And maybe the brace will work again? This is Will just trying to be optimistic when he's clearly fumbling.
Yeah. And she's, you could tell she doesn't believe you, but she says, maybe. She works she worked for an embassy, so she understands diplomacy. So she's being very friendly at this moment. Okay. So we'll say that continues. You eat, you exchange gifts.
Awkward pleasantries.
Yeah. Maybe she moves into one of the other rooms and she wraps up a mug that they happen to have to give to you as a present, and then you bring presents over to Ravi, who doesn't seem particularly inclined, but will eat. She eats and she drinks, and when the music dies, she asks for it to be played again. So we just kind of fade out of that. And yeah, you can put Ancana down if you want as a contact for sure, or connection.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yes.
That was great, man. That was what a wonderful idea. I love how I made a joke about Three's Company, and you literally just made it Three's Company. It's essentially.
I did put in the Discord that I was planning on trying to make a connection with them, so we'll see.
It's good. It's great. I like it. Marie, what about you?
So you just mentioned music, and
Yeah.
so Marie, her drive is artistic sensitivity, and she was able to connect a bit with kind of music and live music and whatnot in LA and in Mexico City, and not so much in Bangkok. Bangkok was not a place for that. So that's what she's going to seek out. So she's going to seek out kind of live music, whether it's sort of like a hotel bar type situations. That's where she had, kind of gotten some work before. But kind of as a audience member, just sort of music, dancing, any of that kind of a thing, because we've just been very serious for several days, a couple weeks straight, and she needs to reconnect to some music.
Nancy, I assume, accompanies you? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
It's winter time, so it's probably not the most not the busiest time downtown, but it is beautiful. At times, in a sort of a serene and sometimes ominous way. But when the weather allows, over the course of the month, when the snows aren't necessarily keeping you all shut in, you make it. Downtown Arkham, you find a jazz club or something like that to spend some time. You could say you go a couple times maybe throughout the time that you're here.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that you notice as you're spending time with Nancy is you have had a vice of alcohol, and probably for a while, it might be fair to say that Marie was the sturdier one. Maybe because of your job. Nancy hasn't waitressed in quite some time. She's moved into works for the forest. I think it's Parks and Forest or something like that department.
Yeah.
And so she isn't around it. You, meanwhile, continued in the clubs, and you are around alcohol all the time. And so maybe you just have more and more of it, and your tolerance is higher. But you notice that she's just going hard. Every night that you go out, she's 1 drink, 2 drinks, 3 drinks. She's getting up and dancing at times in which there's no dancing is going on. She's laughing loud during the course of someone's quiet set, where you see someone's up there playing a very soft kind of bluesy kind of sort of jazz solo piano, and she's just cackling, laughing. I mean, you look over, you can see that she is just getting very handsy with a bartender, and you can tell that she's probably drink twice as much as you drink. And when the bartender kind of politely tries to kind of pawn her off, like she turns to like another guest that's at the bar, and like you can see she just puts her arm around his shoulders and just kind of talking to him and being very loud about it, and says, "So what brings you here? Good looking." Really, really loud. You do, Marie.
And Marie would go over to Nancy and this gentleman, and she'll just make eye contact with the gentleman, just say, "I am so very sorry. I do hope you're enjoying your evening. Let me retrieve
no, it's all right. It's just fine. You can go ahead and back to your table there. I think the two of us are gonna get along just fine. And like Nancy turns to you. See, don't be such a prude, Marie. We're gonna get along just fine. And she's like literally like just all over him at this point.
Yeah. Yes. I do hope you have a good rest of your evening, sir, but I am going to be, we arrived tonight together, and she and I will be leaving tonight.
Oh, I'll
together,
be more than happy
so
to pay for a taxi for you, sweetheart. I could pay. Hey, Miss Bartender, sir, can you get this lady here? Go ahead and get her a taxi.
No. I'm not leaving. And she'll gesture to the bartender, and she'll kind of throw a look to the bartender.
Okay.
My friend will be coming home with me this evening, and so she is going to move over to kind of the backside of Nancy to, kind of put her arms around her waist and kind of pull her back a bit away from this gentleman.
So, like, as you do, she's just like, "Quit being such a prude." And she's like kind of pushing you here and there. And the guy's getting all mad. He's like, "Oh, come on now. What are you doing here? We're just having fun here. We're just two adults having fun. What's wrong with you? What's wrong?" And he's like, you could tell his breath is like filled with booze as well. The bartender's kind of coming over, and he's like, "Okay, pal, that's we're gonna go ahead and just kind of close your tab down. We're gonna close your tab down. I think we're getting kind of. Why don't you leave the ladies alone?" So he's trying to follow. The bartender is like trying to be polite and follow your lead. And the whole time you're pulling Nancy away, she's just sort of pushing at you. And every now and then she just kind of like grabs your face and just sort of runs her hand down your face. "You have such smooth skin." And she's just like running her hand through your hair, like knocks your hat off at one point, and kind of is like just twirling your red locks. How's Marie handling all this?
Let's take a walk home. I think we could use the fresh air.
I want to go home. More music. And she just kind of calls out, and like there's music playing, so she's calling out and over top of the music that's already going.
Yeah, I think we might be interrupting their set. You know what? We have some records back at your place. We'll just do that. And she's kind of hoping it's pretty cold out, so kind of let's get her back into the cold, and kind of hope the jolt of cold air might kind of snap her to just a little bit.
So you managed to get her out there into the cold, but at no point does she stop just kind of like fawning, like you can tell like she's like her behavior shifts from just like kind of pushing you off of her to let her in, and then you can see she's just kind of like in this weird way her movement becomes like caressing, where she's just sort of like petting like the back of your head a bit here and there, and then just kind of like nuzzling like a cat might, like literally against your chin here and there. And the whole time she's saying, you're always so serious, just have fun. And she's like, you've probably never seen her like this before. Like she's
Marie's go ahead.
I was gonna say, give me a spot hidden.
Okay, rolling under 72, roll the 24.
Okay,
hard success.
Maybe the first thing that catches your attention is that as she's like kind of nuzzling underneath your chin and she's talking to you, she's like breathing up into your nostril, up into your mouth, and you get a whiff, and you realize there's not just booze on her breath, but a very familiar scent of this kind of mossy nature kind of smell. And it's not like she would normally smell. Like, and you know that she works in the parks department, but not in a park. She works in the department.
Right.
And so it's not like she's coming home smelling like pine, but you recognize it. It becomes very clear. I mean, you smelt it so many times. She smells of nectar. And as you like maybe reach down and you look into her bag, you can see that in her bag there are 3 vials. One seems to be empty, but it looks like there are 2 more that are filled with that kind of clear but glossy, with a hint of that orange, if you recall sometimes, of nectar. You recognize it. It looks like the LA vials that you've seen both in Daniel Lohman's LA. You've seen these before. It doesn't look like the fancy vials you've seen elsewhere. It's pretty standard LA stuff.
And Marie would sort of push her a little bit, so she'll kind of grab them real quick, and she'll kind of very quickly just kind of grab them and just sort of like, kind of push them in her face. Where did you get these? Where did you get these?
Oh, that's my medicine. You should try some. It'll probably make you
Where
happy.
Did you
Here.
get it?
And
Who
she like
gave this
reaches
to
out
you?
to it. Just take a little sip.
Nope.
It's fine.
No. And Marie puts
I'm
them in her
going
bag.
back inside.
Answer. And Marie is where? And she's, kind of almost kind of taking her face like, who gave these to you?
Give me an intimidate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. Okay, I've got a 15, so I'm going to take a couple audience boosts. So I'm rolling under 35 for this.
Sure, fair enough. You will not be able to improve this though.
Yeah. I will spend the 3 luck to succeed.
Okay. Steven proposed the idea that we shouldn't be able to spend luck on rolls in which you use audience bits.
I believe you said you were a little unsatisfied, and I said that was a possibility.
Yeah. He said that. I threw out the idea of like, okay, what do we think about changing this up? And he was like, we should do this. So I just want to point out, he said that. Not in the rule set yet, though. Not in our home rules. So we'll let it go. Technically, you did. Technically, there's no other kind of thing here. You did. Oh, goodness. Okay.
Technically, you're right.
She just says, "Oh, you're such a square. It's just some guys downtown. That's all. Just some guys.
Where downtown? Where? Tell me exactly.
I don't know. I don't know. Somewhere. Not here." And she'll refer to like a. Like maybe I'm trying to look at like the neighborhoods.
I'm looking at the
here.
Arkham map.
But she'll reference like somewhere along Water Street. So maybe not even downtown. Maybe she'll reference somewhere along Water Street, which is like along the water. Like there's like maybe there's pathways and stuff like that. Just some guys. They were really nice guys. It was fine. It was buy one get one 3. Buy one get one 3.
Nancy, I'm not amused. I am not amused. Since when?
You're never amused. Oh my gosh.
I am usually the amused one. You are usually the one that is upset with my hijinks.
Because you are so stuffy. That's why.
Oh yes, Marie Wynn, stuffy. That is the adjective that most people would describe me as.
I'm
stuffy.
glad that she tries to reach out and grab the give me those back. I paid for them.
No.
So how do you want to resolve this?
We are going home, and tomorrow you're going to show me where on Water Street
you can go home.
You found this.
I am going back and finding a friend because I don't have one here. And
we're going
makes
home.
A move to turn. Give me a brawl test to see if you can forcefully.
Oh, man.
She's a grown-up individual. She doesn't want to go with you.
No, she's intoxicated.
Clearly, she's under the influence of nectar.
Yeah. All right. I'll take 1 audience boost to roll under 35.
Okay.
Not 73.
Okay. So she like breaks off of you, and in the process of doing so, you stumble to the ground and she rushes off. By the time like you get up, you slip once or twice, she's rushed across the street. Traffic comes, it's that classic honk, honk, and then when you rush across, she's gone. And we fade from that scene.
Oh gosh.
And we gotta check in with Bev before we finish up for tonight. So Bev, if it's okay with you, shall we have your hearing?
Let's get it over with.
Let's just get it over with.
Oh.
Okay.
How bad could it be?
So we are in so we'll open up. We see like this it's probably early afternoon, Miskatonic University. We see the classic flyover, all of the various brick buildings and such covered in snow. We can't see the green lawn. Obviously the trees themselves lack a lot of their color. It's a very stark look. It's possible, I'm not sure, it's possible the classes might not even have started yet, but maybe faculty and staff are back. And we zoom in on the Hoyt building, which is like an administrative building. And we like find ourselves in a very large like conference room, basically, where you are sitting on one end and maybe your friend Fali is there as like, kind of a peer representative. I don't know if they necessarily had like unions or anything, but you might have like a rep, which I know is a thing that we sometimes do. You can see that you recognize some faces. You can see Dr. David Edmond all the way on the other side of the conference room. You can see that some of the trustees have attended, not all of them. Some of the trustees are off to the side. And there's a handful of people like taking notes and such. And Dr. Edmond like looks up at you and he's like, "Well, thank you for joining us today, Dr. Key. We will not keep you in suspense any longer. We have spoken. We have reviewed a significant amount of evidence, and we are very troubled with some of the evidence that we have been reviewing. But as is our way, according to the rights set forth in our residential faculty protocols, you have a right to a hearing, so that we might present to you reasons for your dismissal. Now, I will give you a moment. If you have a statement you wish to enter into discussion, please go ahead and do so now, Dr. Key."
And that would be when she'd present, because Shyma got her the letter of recommendation from.
Sure.
So she'll present that and other character pieces that she's been collecting from her women's club, from Janet Winston Rogers.
Sure. Okay, so yeah, you stack those up. You'll see the door open up, and in comes Cyrus Lanfear. Tall, black man, bald head, wears a very kind of a colorful vest and sort of like a kind of a brownish coat. Has a very kind of very noticeable, powerful presence as he steps into the room, and like he kind of reiterates as Dr. Key has already suggested, I believe that she is a valuable member of the Miskatonic University staff and faculty. While her methods and practices might be somewhat abnormal, inordinate, we are Miskatonic University. Abnormal, inordinate is in our mission statement. And you can hear a couple people chuckle around the room. And so like he comes in, he speaks to your character. But Bev, it is not very specific. Like it's a very general recommendation, because it's not that you and him have much connection. And so you can tell he's doing this as a way of kind of continuing his deal. And he'll sit down and, well, thank you, Mr. Lanfear, for your time. We appreciate it. We appreciate your testimony. It's very, you are a valued member of one library, and we are quite pleased to see with what you plan to do in this new year of 1937. That being said, And so he kind of looks back to Bev. We have read through your letter here from Miss Janet Winston Rogers. She is a very powerful voice with the pen. She speaks very highly of your abilities. However, her recommendations are that you do not seem to be aligned with our academic integrity. Mostly, this seems to be character witness. And while she seems to be somewhat enamored with your behavior and your ability to perform a variety of tasks, in no way has her statement addressed the ethical breaches that you have that have brought you before us today. As for the women's committee, well, and like he kind of looks, and some of the trustees, they all kind of exchange. They were very glowing, of course, but it seems when we presented to them some follow-up questions, they were not privy to some of the grievances that have been lodged against you, and they were somewhat taken aback by not one but two students suffering severe injury, even death. Seems to be something you neglected to share with them, at least not the full story as we have it. I'm just kind of looking at you and like waiting for you to say something.
And I'm sure Beverly would say something wonderful and fantastic.
Oh, would she? Okay.
No, but something that would make sense, along the lines of, she, within the best of her abilities at the time, had done what she could to, take care of her students monetarily, as well as, trying to steer them within the direct, or proper places to be. But unfortunately, these are adults that she's working with. And while she can do her best to help guide them, they are still adults who can make their own decisions, even against her recommendation.
And he nods. You are not wrong. They are young adults, but they are in our care. And not only are they in our care, but they are highly influenced by us. They want to please us. They want to do right by us. The power dynamics are very complicated, as you'll see. So to suggest that you have no influence over some of those decisions that they make that might not be in their best interests is, well, that does not sit well with some of us. The responsibilities of a faculty member at Miskatonic University is to ensure that every student here gets the best education possible, but also leaves here without any undue harm or stress put onto them. With that in mind, we have here a letter. I will not read it in full, but you'll be given a copy from the family of Miss Viola Sutherland, who, well, as you might imagine, her parents are not particularly keen on you. They hold you in some disregard. They believe that your negligence as a expedition leader is what is most likely the reason why she suffered such a terrible fate. They have written asking for us to take more sufficient action. While they were unable to convince a court of law to place particular charges against you, this is an arena in which their voice will be heard. And so she like he'll slide across the table. You get a copy of it, and you see it's like this letter from the Sutherlands, and it's just like saying all sorts of awful things about you, and not like it's not bad mouthing, but saying like we put our daughter. We trusted Miskatonic University. We trusted Dr. Key with our daughter, and our daughter didn't return. And the body was in such a condition that we couldn't even have a proper open casket. Like you can see like this, like whole big thing, and corroborating their reports. Go ahead and ask Professor DeWitt to come on in now. and you see the door opens up, and you can see this young man that you recognize, Hubert DeWitt, is on the same expedition. You start to get, they're prepared. He comes in, and he's not looking at you. He just doesn't want to look at you, and he's like, hello there, Dr. President Edmund and trustees. And like, he, like the president is like, Professor DeWitt, please. And you notice he keeps calling him Professor. If you could, please, just go ahead and give me could you just walk the entire room full, through the events that led to Miss Sutherland's death? And so he does that. And it's a story that you know very well, right? Where she forgot her notes. She went after them alone. You were off in the wilds and then never came back. And then like DeWitt, Hubert went off, had to get a gun, etc. And by the time you found her, she was attacked and like killed by, was it a bear, Ashley? I think, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, that's what we thought it was, but in true honesty, it seemed other.
And so as like he's telling the story, he's never once looking at you. Like he is completely, and you can tell like he has told the story in a way that sounds rehearsed, and probably like he's definitely embellishing certain things here and there. And then like by the end, you can see like the president's like, well, thank you, Professor DeWitt. I believe you have some classes to prepare for. We will not take up any more of your time. And he like kind of gets up and he's like, again, completely avoiding your eyes, Bev, as he's trying to walk out. You say anything? You do anything?
Yeah, Hubert.
He looks, I'm sorry, Dr. Key.
No.
No.
You're under oath. You know what it was like when we were there.
That's actually incorrect there, Dr. Key. This is not a court of law. This is a formal hearing.
Whatever, but you know the truth.
I'm sorry, Dr. Key. Viola's father came and saw me. I'm sorry. And he like rushes out. And he like, at that point, you could tell he's nervous, and he's like, you could tell like he was put up to this, right?
Yeah.
Then, Dr. Key, if you are done harassing the witnesses, could we continue? We have additional discussion, if that's all right. Dr. Key?
Yes.
Do you need a moment?
Please continue. Obviously,
Excellent.
This is a very well-prepared character assassination.
Well, you can use whatever words you like to call it. We here at Miskatonic University are very prepared, and we take our jobs very seriously, which is precisely the reason why you are in front of us right now, because perhaps you were not as well prepared, and perhaps you did not take your job as seriously as you should. Case in point, and he like opens up. You recently visited the University of California, Los Angeles. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you had interaction with Professor Hamish McDunn, department head, history at university. Is that correct?
We did, yes, access the library.
And is it true that you offered him private bribes from your personal wealth to gain access to the private belongings of a professor on staff within the university? Is that correct?
I did make a donation to retrieve books to bring back for our department.
Oh, I thought you were an anthropology professor. She should be in literature. She has quite a way with changing the words. Donation, bribe, say whatever it is you will. It does seem that you were very forceful
very
and unethical. Different. Oh, well. We have testimony here from Professor McDunn, that you were most unprofessional and unethical, and he felt compelled to accept the bribe for or you might level some sort of threat of blackmail, he said. And he slides like this testimony across, and you can see like this write-up from McDunn, and it's got his big signature. And while we do not tend to people's private lives are private, of course, but you are a representative of the university, especially when you go to other colleges, and you are seen to be
gallivanting around, acting in very lewd and lascivious behavior. I hesitate to show this. I apologize.
And he slides over to you like a folder. And when you open it up, it's like photos. It's you and it's Ed. And it's like you guys are drinking, dancing. You're like, you look you're having a lot of fun. There's some like walk of shame moments here and there. Bev, the pictures definitely have the look of like stalkery private investigator photos.
Yeah.
Okay.
What does my personal relationship have to do?
Well, that's an excellent question. As I said, the role of a faculty member here at Miskatonic University is not just to educate our students and care for them, but to uphold a certain level of decency and ethics within the social community. And as you can see here, this on its own would probably not suffer any major consequences, but taken as a greater picture of your behavior and what it is you value in your life, it seems as though you care more.
It sounds to me as if you have issues with an upstart young woman who just wants to uplift those around her. The fact that I have a relationship with a man, you hired someone to follow me and take pictures? This is alarming. Truly, you must recognize this. The infringement upon my privacy of my own personal time?
I see. Wow. I'm very confused. I thought you went to the University of California, Los Angeles as a representative of the Miskatonic University. That's the only reason why you would file paperwork to take with you one of our students, is it not?
For that? But am I on my days off? Am I not allowed to go on a date?
Oh, when you are off on this sort of endeavor, you do not have days off. Perhaps that is the misunderstanding. You are always, when you have students in your care, responsible for them. And perhaps if you were not off gallivanting around with this admittedly very attractive man, you might have been able to take care of Miss Oberon. We have testimony from her father that you have been a very terrible influence on her, and that she is suffering from not just physical wounds that seem to be very debilitating, scars of a great variety. Even very recently, she has returned to him, and, well, she seems to think her mother is alive. And her mother has been dead for multiple years, and he puts much of this at your feet. It seems that she looks to you as something of a mentor, maybe a mother figure of in replacement, and perhaps while you were busy doing whatever it is you were doing with this man, you weren't paying attention to the fact that your student was suffering a great deal.
And she just continues to listen to wait for because it seems like they've already have their decision made.
Oh, it
and
definitely
so,
has that vibe. Yeah.
She's just nothing she says is going to make any influence.
Well, Dr. K, we thank you for the time that you have spent here at Miskatonic University, but we have come to the conclusion, and we have reviewed very carefully the bylaws within the residential faculty agreement. We have more than sufficient grounds for your dismissal, and we will move forth with that henceforth. If you could, please, at your earliest convenience, empty out the remainder of your belongings from your office within the anthropology department so that we might find a suitable replacement for the spring and for the future. Do you have any other statements you wish to add officially to the record?
None.
Well, thank you for attending. Thank you everyone here for your hard and judicious work, and thank you very much for holding the standards of Miskatonic high enough. And have a wonderful new year. We'll see you in spring.
And he gets up and starts shaking hands, and you can see the trustees, and no one's really looking at you, and everything just sort of fades away at that point. And I think we're going to end on that, as we are pretty far into this episode. And so let's go ahead and stop there.
Ev got screwed.
Yeah.
Did she though?
I kind of figured I was getting straight fucked with that.
Yeah, some of it was pretty mean, but I don't know, man. So when you go on, so like one of the things is like when you go on, when you like take students like places, there's all sorts of forms and stuff like that. There's all sorts of liability forms. Like a couple of years ago, I was looking into taking one of my student clubs. I was taking my student club to like a writing conference, and dear God, the amount of paperwork I had to go in and the liability if anything happened to them. Holy crap. I don't know if it was like that in 1937, but like,
yeah, I didn't think it would be like that strict in 1937. So I was like,
I don't know.
Jeff, you're fucking punching me from left field. All right.
Sorry. No one's getting out of this alive. So
Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know where
jobs you had.
that really shitty JFK accent came from, but I was like, oh, where'd that come from?
I freaking loved
feels
it.
right.
I didn't even know I could do that. I was
so
like, what the hell is
much.
Well, thank you for your time there, Dr. Key, and Happy New Year.
Okay, so let's go ahead and let's close it down. We'll pick up next week. As you all know, there are other games which you look forward to downtime. This is one of them because it just gets worse. Hey, good news though, Patrick is no longer insane. So that's great news.
It's a positive.
That's great. That is fantastic news.
Maybe you want me insane though. Like now it's all downhill. That I'm not insane.
I mean, your sanity score is still shit, but at least you're not in the middle of indefinite.
Well, aren't you up in the 40s now? Didn't you make it to 40?
Barely. I'm at 39.
Well, actually, that's not in the 40s.
Technically, that's not 40.
Technically. All right.
Close enough.
All right. Listen, you guys are back in Bangkok. Will's got a new friend.
We're in Arkham.
Shyma is really in a bad place.
We're in Arkham, not Bangkok.
Arkham.
Why do
Don't
I keep
take us
saying
back,
that?
Jeff. Don't take us back because we've been there.
Am I in Bangkok right now? Is that right?
What's
All
out your
right.
window, Jeff?
None of your business, Ashley.
It's me.
All right. Let's go do some close plugs. We'll get out of here. So, Steven, if you could please shut up. Maitreyi, where can we find you on the internet?
Today was so good. I'm still like reeling from it. I am reeling a lot less at Maitreyi's games on YouTube, where I make system agnostic or multi-system content about tabletop sets sent to the GM and players that you should check it if you feel like checking anything out.
Fantastic. Awesome. That's wonderful. All right. See anyone else? Anyone else? Oh, Steven, you've been doing something. What have you been doing?
I've been making my own Weird West RPG. It's called Huckleberry. It's a lot of fun if you like horror, if you like action. It's Hellboy and Tombstone. You should check it out at huckleberryrpg.com. It's available now, and it's a blast. And we got new content coming out very soon. So go to the website and sign up for the email list, and you'll get a notification when it's out.
Awesome. Fantastic. Oh, gosh. These headsets are dying. I just got the notification that these are dying. These things last forever. We've been playing. We've been going for like 4 hours.
Yeah. Holy
We've been
shit.
going for a long time. 3 hours and 18 minutes. This is a long session. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. What do we got? Next up for us, Monday, Otherscape. Tuesday, new game, Perils and Princesses. Kipster's going to get us started. We're going to make some characters. Maybe start the adventure. We'll see how fast it goes. As you know, Steven abandoned us on Tuesday, but Kipster was there to pick up the mantle, thankfully. Thursday, Swords of the Serpentine. Oh my God, I'm loving that game. I'm having so much fun with like just revealing how awful of a family that they're all connected to.
It's great.
And then Friday, Steven, what are we playing?
We're playing. Well, technically, we're not playing anything. We're doing a session 0 of the Magnus Archives, Cypher System, Monty Cook Games. So we're going to be playing that bi-weekly in between Dragonbane.
Awesome. I'm really excited. I started listening to it again because it's been a while since I listened to it, but I started listening to some episodes. Yeah, so much fun. I went back to the beginning too, so I'm getting some of the oldies. Like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Same.
God, I love I think it's like the second or the third app, like the coffin one.
Yeah,
God, I love that one. That was so good. Yeah, that one's so good. I think it's like the second or third app. Okay, and that's it. And then we'll be back next Saturday with more Call of Cthulhu. We're going to go ahead and raid some people. Melissa, I believe we had 1 or 2 raids.
I'm Chris Kidd. Thank you for raiding us.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Sorry that I missed it. I'm bad at paying attention to the chat. Who are we raiding? Let's raid. Oh, man. Let's do Transplanter. Let's do Transplanter RPG. Let's give them a raid. Have a great rest of your night. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you all later. Bye-bye.
I'll be seeing you.